My name's Ryan Davian. I was one of the perceptualists here at the 2025 Psy Games. We are now in 2026, so I'm excited. It's been kind of a weird adventure. I include my wife because me and my wife, how long have we been married?
Almost 20 years.
20 years of
Uh,
being married. It felt like 20 minutes underwater.
Oh
Uh
yes.
gotta make that joke. My dad would hate me if I didn't. So we've just been together for a long time, and really the Psy Games kind of like competition stuff has really just been within this last year. Um, but in terms of like spirituality, the kind of the Psy stuff, outside of that competition realm, um, Brandy's seen a lot. Um, so always, from a young age, I always kind of knew I had precognition. I always had this ability to connect with people. I was always just a little bit extra. I'm still a little bit extra. um,
I love your extra.
right. So, sometimes that was really good. Sometimes that was bad, but, you know, my earliest memories that I can remember of the psi stuff or kind of spirituality. My mom is very metaphysical. My mom is very spiritual. My dad's Methodist, and I grew up with kind of both sides, I guess would be the way to put it. So I kind of had kind of I'll just say, very general Christian. And then I kind of
Mhm.
had this metaphysical side too, where it was like my dad never really pushed too hard. My mom never really pushed too hard. They kind of found a really good balance, kind of like me and my wife have. Um, but within all that, she would talk about how she was this, she was just always this wolf. Everything that she would talk about would be this wolf, and she was this black wolf. And
Oh,
um
your mom would say that? Black
Yeah, that
yeah.
wolf,
was
like
like her spirit animal.
So, and she would talk about how she was just this like pack leader. And so I have to give you the story of my mom a little bit
yeah,
because my
please.
mom is a giant influence on what I am. So my mom, we were always the house that had everybody. We had foster kids, I had foster brothers and sisters. My parents had foster kids between 1 to 3 my whole childhood growing up. I'm my parents' blood child, but
Mhm.
we had all these other brothers and sisters. A lot of them were pretty long term. Along with that, you just kind of see parts of life that other people that don't get exposed to things like that,
Yeah.
from a young age, that it was just always part of my life, between disabilities or mental illness, or just folks that are having difficulty, even kids that were my age at that time. um just kind of learning to accept, you know what I mean? So, within all that, my mom's metaphysical. I'm getting kind of both sides. My dad would tell you he's the Kansas state champion with basketball, or with football and golf. And so my dad's
Mhm.
very, very typical, right? Just
Yeah,
more
right.
a good father, but
Mhm.
just kind of more typical. And so my mom always used to give me the eccentricness, I guess would be the way to put it. So, and she was an artist too, and we would do art things together. I'm an artist, so kind of to back up, I have a human services, mental health, and counseling degree from Metro State, which is one of the colleges here in Colorado. Also have an industrial design degree from the Art Institute of Colorado.
Awesome.
I have about 20 years of certifications for behavioral, everything from long-term care settings to long-term psychiatric to the long-term foster care to everything in between, being a county assessor for folks that are on Medicaid and to try to get them the services they need through the county. And I guess kind of all that. So I'm this artist, and I'm this human services, social worker, and just trying to be as best of a person as I can. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? My parents always taught me that like the best thing you can do is to be in service of others, and not that you would let yourself go to others, but that helping life. We're all doing this for the first time. We're all for flesh and blood. Doesn't matter that
Oh,
where you're from, what you believe in, the color of your skin. It's just we're all here doing it for the first
mhm,
time. You know what I mean? And people's past or their histories look different than maybe yours, right? And so
mhm.
just that unconditional positive regard. I had a whole bunch of college professors that really drove that home too. That just, especially when you're working with these clientele, knowing yourself, knowing that you could be judged by anybody else for all the same reasons that you might be judging somebody else. You know what I
Uh-huh,
mean?
exactly. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Um, and then in acknowledging that within yourself, but then not putting that onto others, letting others kind of find their own path, find their own light. You know what I mean? And um, all that just kind of is the background, right?
Mhm.
In terms of the size stuff, and I
Mhm.
definitely don't say this lightly, and I don't say this for any sort of clout, but there's just been all these connections. So I do meditate. I meditate the way that everybody else does. So I actually will show you. You're going to be the first podcast. If you post this within the next month, you'll be the first podcast to see this. And it's kind of silly.
What are we doing? I
I
love it.
So I've made a sensory deprivation helmet for myself.
Oh my God.
I'm a moto guy. I've got a helmet that had Bluetooth speakers inside of it. This is just my road bike helmet. You can put your phone inside. And so what I've done is, and I know this is going to sound really crazy, and I know that you might be able to relate to this. I forget what the name of the company was that had that chair that you would sit in with the lights over your head, and it would give you the fractal pattern. I've been able to cheaply replicate it. So there's a couple of apps that you can get on your phone, even if you just kind of
Yes.
look up
Illuminate.
flashing things
Yeah.
on YouTube. They'll
Yeah.
give you that fractal pattern when you shut your eyes. And then I have the headphones on so you can put on binaural beats. I
Mhm.
usually use gamma waves. And I just kind of let myself trance. If you put a shoulder massager, like, just a typical shoulder massager that vibrates, and just kind of lean your head back on it, it literally looks the exact same. Because I remember what that looked like.
Yes.
Short of being in the warm blankets and in that really comfortable environment, wherever you decide to be, you can get kind of that same fractally trancing kind of experience.
Wow. You need
So
to patent that thing.
dude, I know.
Seriously.
Well,
I love sensory deprivation.
and so part of my whole deal, is I think there's a history of kind of folks having kind of their own intentions with the size stuff, and charging certain amounts and doing stuff. So part of my goal, and not that this is all of it, but part of my goal is to teach folks how to do stuff cheaply. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I know what the expensive stuff looks like, but if I can tell you how to replicate it for $100, I'm going to tell you that at least you're going to get somewhere close to it. You know what I
I
mean? And
love that. I love, love,
so,
love that. Because I've been thinking this something similar, like, but not really with the items, but like I know there's a reason why they charge some,
yeah,
trainings, whatever, charge what they do. But I've been thinking lately, how can we do this on a smaller scale to get the word out more? But I love that idea
exactly.
of the items.
Exactly. And honestly, I have a whole table behind. Oh, there we go. Whole table behind of stuff that I want to show you guys, just because
Cool.
I do want to put it out there. And so, like, and once again, and please don't take this the wrong way, Psy Community. Like, I know it takes a long time to become a master. I'm a professional motocrosser. It took me literally since I was 12 years old, racing every weekend. And I can't even tell you how many hours I've been on a motorcycle to get that master time, right? So
Right.
folks that are teaching this and had that master time, I'm once again,
Absolutely.
a professional painter charges what they charge because it's their art, it's their time, it's their heart that they put into it, right? And not to say in some terms, not to say that doesn't mean the new painter on the street can't paint as well. Just
Exactly.
means that you're not paying for that history, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's what that person earns. So
Yep.
once again, I'm not kind of talking bad on it. I'm just saying for me, it's just like I want to make sure that I get as much of this stuff out there because it is reasonably new. It's starting to gain traction, and the moto community is aware of it now, at least here in Colorado, because I'm posting all the time.
I
And
bet.
so, kind of to back up from all this, you know what I mean? So just to kind of give you where my heart is, right? Like that's kind of where I was wanting to get. And the making the world a better place than when I came in, man, leaving the mark and legacy of love, and truly that's what drives me. And she gets kind of irritated with me because I want to be talking like philosophical, like love and passion at like 10 o'clock at night in the bed. And she's like, dude, I'm just trying to go to bed. I got
I've been with third graders all day. I'm all done. Can't.
No talkie. Talkie done.
so like so just to give you all the love and passion, and where the heart is. And so on the back side of it, right, on the side of the actual function of getting to the size stuff. So I went to Cole Elementary. I'm a Colorado native. I love to say that because a lot of people are not. Grew up in Broomfield, Colorado. I lived in Westminster. She actually grew up in a city just next to mine.
We always wonder, like, did we had to have run into each other without knowing it when we were younger,
Right.
because we grew up only about 5 miles away from each other.
Isn't that so funny?
Yeah.
Didn't know it till our
Love
20s.
those things.
Yep.
So long story short, I've been in the same community, and I'm still friends with a lot of people from this community. I went to Cole Elementary. My mom was a teacher there, and my mom was a teacher there the entirety of my stay there. And I went there in kindergarten. I was literally there from kindergarten through 5th grade. My mom was a teacher there from before I started through when I left to go to middle school. She actually went to the middle school with me. She actually followed me the whole way through to high
Really?
school, good or
That's funny.
bad. I'm just gonna say it. I don't want to. Sometimes it was really good, and sometimes it was really bad. But
I can't
because
imagine.
I would steal her Camaro. She had a Camaro, and she would know when I would steal it because I would drive it to school, and like, then
Cool.
all of a sudden she'd roll up in the other car that she would normally drive, and she's like, "Why is my Camaro here?"
That's
And I would get pulled by the ear
great.
somewhere. She'd like make a point to go into the high school to pull me by the ear, just like it was cool. My mom always knew that, like, my friends always knew who my mom was and knew that
Mhm.
she was hassling me. In Cole Elementary, and I just want to say this because I want people to know it's for real. When you go into Cole Elementary, you have the main office. Behind the main office, you have the 2nd and 1st grade corridor. A little bit further down this hall, you have the 3rd or the kindergarten and 1st, then 3rd and 4th. Then you go down and there's a 5th grade wing, right? And then kind of in the middle of all this is this lunchroom. If you keep going down the hall past all the corridors for the classrooms, you would go into the tech room or the computer room, and then you would go into the library. The library had these like built-in podium kind of bleachery stairs, I guess would be the way that you would put it. And that's where they would always do the school pictures and like what's it called, the class pictures. Long story short, right next to that bleachers was a room, and it didn't have any windows, and it was used as a conference room. Like, it wasn't any like specific, like, crazy room, but it was just part of it, but it didn't have anything else, right? And so um starting in 3rd grade through 5th grade, I was actually pulled once to twice a month to go do the talented and gifted program. Talented and gifted education. My mom got flyers on it. Unfortunately, we're talking like 92, 93,
Mhm.
somewhere in there, maybe even sooner than that. So we don't have any of those forms, but I remember, like, I just remember it, right? And I can remember the teachers that were there. And my 3rd grade teacher was Miss Blakemore, and it went through Miss Sconyer's class, and Miss Sconyer's didn't like it because I would get pulled and I wasn't doing as well in math. Anyways, so I would get pulled during the math period. So I'm pretty sure, um, I'm not,
Was
pr-
the gate.
I'm not pretty sure. I know I was in the talented and gifted program, but
Okay.
with the GATE program, in addition to just doing like, because it was like, I don't have any negative memories of any of this
Mhm.
too. I know a lot of people talk about when they're in the GATE program having these negative memories
Yeah.
or these periods of blacking out or memory loss, I guess would be the more the way to put it. And I think I'll explain why I don't have that. But what I remember is you would walk into the conference room. It was just once a month, so they would bring in tables from the library to put into the room. Um, and what would happen is you would know that they were there because the library would have a schedule, and we're talking back in the day before computers, so they would have like a
Mhm.
posted, like, written schedule on the library. And you would just see that it was there, right? When you were walking from classes, because basically all the classrooms were on one side, all the gyms and art and music was
Yeah.
all on the other side, right? So you would walk past the library every time you went to the other. So I would get pulled. They would have a single desk with like a shelf up top, 90s style. I think the chair was like red with the 4 little posts in it, and like plastic. And
Mhm.
anyways, it was just a desk, and then they'd have like just a couple of library tables, and they'd have like games set out. And so what would happen is you didn't I remember being in a line, and not like it was like a line like we were standing, like we would just sit outside the room, and they would have like kids go through and do the test. And I do remember doing the like hearing test. It had a blue and white pair of headphones, and they did that in the same area that they did, like, once again, we're talking the 90s. I don't think it happens
Yeah.
anymore, or if it does.
We still have vision in here.
So you
They
do the
do, yeah,
vision
they have
and
vision
hearing
and hearing,
test, and
yeah.
then I remember back in the day, they did the lice test, like, everybody would go through
Oh,
and have,
yeah, I remember that too.
right? So that was in a separate area with separate equipment. So just to be very
Okay.
clear, I distinctly remember that
Mhm.
was its own thing. Um, you would go into this room, and basically what would happen is you would start off. I remember we had a very consistent trainer, and it was, or not a trainer, but a tester,
Right.
and it would be this very consistent guy that had reasonably long hair. And I remember, because like we're talking the 90s, we're kind of out
Yeah.
of that long hair,
Mhm.
and now it went from everybody having like kind of the long, 90s and 80s haircuts to more of that
Right.
sharp, like kind of more what I
Okay.
have, or
Right.
tighter, or the bowl cuts. You know what I mean?
Oh, the bowl cut.
So to have a dude that was with long hair, I just remember this dude was just kind of, that wasn't my typical. And so what would happen is we would go into this room, we would talk, and then what would happen is we would do these tests. And so I remember having everything from these like knot tests where they would literally just hand you a knot. I remember these like rubber band post tests where they would try to get you to get certain things connected without, and it'd be like a pegboard that you would put these rubber bands on that you would try to connect things or create patterns. I know there's a word for it, but
It's a geoboard.
geoboard. And then so
Oh.
and then the shapes that were like the different colors.
Tangrams.
Yes, that's what it was. So
Tangrams,
what
okay.
happened is I remember the tangram was like this dude would lose his mind because with the tangrams, instead of solving the riddle or putting the mosaic kind of pattern, whatever they were looking to do, I would always build it 3D. So I could get the tangrams to stand on each other. And they're like, so do this thing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna put it on top of each other and make it like 3D. So the tangrams, instead of just being a flat square, all of a sudden it's a 3D square because I used four of them. You know what I mean? And so
Wow.
I
Yeah.
remember that part very specifically. I remember the knots very specifically because even to this day, I'm a dad. We do Christmas lights. It's January. I hate knots. You know what I mean? So I remember the knots very specifically that they would give you these knots and be like, try to undo this. And the dude would just give me like 5 minutes. I'm like, why am I getting pulled out of class to do this knot?
Yeah.
But I do remember like word puzzles where you would basically get this like completely random, what seemed like a completely random until you started to work it, number set that would maybe combine with a letter, but you had to do some sort of a problem to find that connection. And then you
Okay.
would do the problem solving. I do remember like smell tests. They would have these like little tiny vials that they would give you, and you would just tell them what would the connection with the smell would be. I remember it wasn't very often, less often with these like war shot tests, but like a very typical war shot test. Within all this, right? The last thing I'll say is, I remember there being an element of the brown headphones, and the brown headphones would be in like I don't remember a briefcase, but I remember like a bag, like a duffel bag, I think. But what would happen is they would put what I now know is the Monroe tapes. I mean, straight up, there's just no other way to it. It's the Monroe Gate program. So in other podcasts, I've talked about using the binaural beats, but I don't use the gate program. Well, I don't use the gate program because I like, you know, I've always known this, but I had the
Yeah.
gate program exposed to me way early as a kid. Like we're talking probably like
Wow.
92, 93, right? And
Yeah.
so to me, I don't remember if anybody remembers this, but once again, I'm a 90s kid. There was like a Captain Nemo or Captain something where you would go on these like video voyage quests. And it was, I guess the whole thing is there was a video series that we would watch and you'd follow these things and take notes. And it was just kind of that same mindset for me of like, okay, so they're just trying to give me a different version of making this interesting to me. They're just trying to give me a different version of education to draw me in more, get my buy-in.
Yeah.
Um, but in the retrospect of it, this was something completely different. This wasn't Nemo's voyage or Captain something's,
Mhm.
learning quest. This was in retrospect as an adult, this was testing for something else. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
I remember the opening of the gate program where they're like, the part where they're like, you make your own journey, or it's something like that effect, where it's like make your own journey or you create your own reality. And
The gateway
yeah,
program, which mean
yeah,
okay, yeah,
that
yeah. Mhm.
opening statement that they make where you start to hear the waves and
Yeah.
the beeps, you know what I mean? So
Mhm. Yeah.
it it that had always as a kid, I just thought that was just something else, right? Just something part of the thing. I don't ever remember having any memory blackouts because I can remember all of this. I can remember too what would happen is so my mom's classroom was reasonably close to the lunchroom. So you would do the testing in there, and Mr. Ray was the principal, but Mr. Ray did not like
Your
having
memory is incredible. Just
well,
letting you know.
He remembers all these crazy details.
so long story short, what would happen is we would do the testing, you would do all these different versions of it, and then what would happen is they'd have kind of a de-escalation, or that's not the right word, like just like an ending to it,
Wrap
like
up.
a wrap up. It's a
Yeah.
better word.
Okay. Okay.
Kind of talk, and what would happen is they'd be like, okay, well now go to the lunchroom, and then you would just get back into the same line into the lunchroom. And so Cole Elementary's lunchroom would come off to a playground on one side of the lunchroom, like you would enter on one side, one side went to the playground and the other side went directly, basically facing my mom's classroom. And they would give the pink drink or the tablet right in the lunchroom, right by where my mom's classroom was. So my mom would always pull me and be like, he doesn't need to have that.
Really?
So, and I remember specifically it would be like, well, it's for his teeth, like this is all like this is all, health
Health
enrichment kind of stuff.
stuff, yeah.
And she'd be like, no, he doesn't need that. And so I remember getting mad at my mom and having a temper tantrum probably in like third or fourth grade because all these other kids were getting the drink. And I was
Okay.
like, why am I not getting the drink? You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, and I was a little bit chunkier. So like it had even more incentive to me. So it was like I want to try it. Like I'm a trier. Like, and so but I remember my mom being like, "No way." And my mom's boss, who was a teacher there too, like that was in the same classroom, like I remember her being like just telling me to like relax about it too. My mom knew what I was talking about, and and
Yeah.
and that went on for like 3 years.
Wow.
So it gets crazier, a little bit crazier. Um, so in 5th grade, like I don't want to say halfway, but maybe now, like December-ish of 5th grade, like kind of a quarter of the way into the year, somewhere in there, they just stopped. And we got told that, we were still going to be continuing talented and gifted, but then now we were going to be working with this para who would be doing these like, kind of more of the typical stuff. So within all this, that same tester basically had like a final day with like Mr. Ray, and he would talk to the
Mhm.
teachers. And my mom told me
Yeah.
the guy came and talked to us and just be like, all right, we're done with this. But I wasn't there. I remember being on the playground and her telling me this. But the dude asked to meet us. Um for all the folks in Broomfield, there's 120th and Sheridan. That's a crossroads. It's like a main part of Broomfield. And there was what now is a Choose Fitness, used to
Mhm.
be a King Supers. And so I just remember this because it was just such a weird thing. And not, we played sports and we'd have other family members meet us. It wasn't uncommon to meet people at like a grocery store in the 90s because you didn't have cell phones, and it just
No
wasn't the same
Starbucks. Yeah.
communication, right? So this guy met us there and they had this claw machine, and the claw machine never worked, like notoriously never worked.
Mhm.
And he met us there. I don't remember specifically what was being talked about. I remember I was in 5th grade, my mom called me back over, and basically he's like, "Dude, like you just need to keep working on yourself." He's like, and I remember him telling me, he's like, "One day you're going to fly." You know what I mean? And not to say I'm going to fly, but like I
Well,
remember
maybe. I don't know.
you're going to fly, right? And what would happen is I'm like, "Okay, I appreciate you, man. Like you're so, I had lots of coaches and people that always said these supportive things. So I was just figuring it's one more
Yeah, right.
teaching coach kind of saying supportive stuff, you know what I mean? And so in the middle of all this, he gets this claw machine that never works ever, 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 ever for my entirety of life till the place closed down and the claw machine went away. Never worked. And he got this hearted bear to it grabbed it, put it in, no problem. Like the machine had all the strength in the world. Right. And he gave this bear to me, and I was in 5th grade. So I'm like, teddy bear, okay. But like
Mhm.
he's like, please don't lose this. And he's like, that's what he said. He's like, you're gonna fly one day. Keep it up, man. He's like, just make good choices. Like, positive kind of
Mhm.
coach teacher stuff. But and then he gave my mom a $2 bill, and the $2 bill had stuff written on it. And I'm not sure I'm wanting to put that out there yet, but
Mhm.
he gave my
Yeah.
mom, and even back in the 90s, a $2 bill was like relatively rare. Like they were
Mhm.
around then, but
Yeah.
like my mom was like, a $2 bill. This is kind of strange, right? So we come back, we tell my dad, so my dad's kinda like, "Okay, well,
That's weird.
that's a little bit strange, but okay," and honestly, that just kinda got lost to time. I went to middle school, my mom followed me to middle
Yeah.
school. I started to do the motocross, that's kind of when I started to get into it, and I always done sports. My dad was always my coach, you know what I mean? Stick and ball
Mhm.
because that's what he knew. So that was kind of my experience as a kid with Psy. Also just kind of once again, because you're always exposed to those behaviors, being able to kind of read behaviors of folks with disabilities, and literally growing up with a lot of the people I'm surrounded by having some sort of a disability, right? Like, and,
Right.
and not that it was any better or any worse or anything different. It was just that was that person's hand of cards, and you're just helping them get to the best part or the best quality of life for them. When you got this hand of cards, and that doesn't make you any better or any worse. So it's the job to elevate both, right? Like if you're gonna
Mhm.
go, bring everybody with you. You know what I mean? And
And a lot of the kids that were foster kids growing up in his house had disabilities where maybe they were nonverbal. And he really rely on like reading the energies to be able to communicate with them. And I think that's where you kind of realize like, oh, okay, maybe, I have a different sense than other people do because I can figure them out and communicate with them if it's
Right.
not really.
And
Right.
once again, I lovingly say this, and I don't say this to bring up anything, but I just being real with you guys. Uh, when you're in like a classroom setting or a clinical setting, and a person's having an explosion of behavior, a crisis moment, it's one thing because you're outside of your home. You know what I mean? But
Right.
when you're inside of your home and you have these folks that can have those same level of explosions, you're just way more aware. This is my stuff in my home and my heart, right? And so, um, I guess what I'm just trying to say is you really learn how to tune into energies, nonverbal communication, and to some degree telepathy. You're able to see it coming a mile away before the behavior or the explosion, the crisis, or the happiness, the joy. You just can feel it, you can sense it. Kind of moving on from all that to kind of keep the party rolling here. I grow up, I go to school, I become this professional motorcycle racer at like 16, do that for a minute, make some money. I work at a motocross shop when I'm in my high school years, in Broomfield. I do all this other stuff. I become a manager everywhere I go because I do have extra and I'm willing to put in the work. I just kind of have a good career no matter what I really apply my life to, whether it be education or career. Within all this, we start racing in Vegas pretty consistently.
Yeah.
So probably like 2000 through 2018, we went to Vegas basically maybe 2 to 3 times a year. And so we would race and we would do these family reunions, and then we would just go because we made lots of money in Vegas pretty consistently through gambling. And I'd love to say this because everyone thinks it's like, and it is the like easier machines like blackjack or roulette where you're just pulling out black, red, and that kind of stuff. I'm super successful on slot machines as well. And it's not just Vegas and it's not just one place. Like there's a place here called Black Hawk in Central City, and like we've gone up with our friends. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I'm so sorry. Uh Okay. This is really crazy because I have not seen this in like a minute. My oldest son, so I have a younger son, Axel, who's here, and my oldest son, Xander, came out and he had some of the stuff from my mom. And oh my god, 1985.
Yeah.
Holy. Okay, sorry. I have not seen this in a gazillion years. Where did you even get this?
That she gave it to
Okay,
you.
so
So
dude, you're seeing a moment right here.
Oh,
So
I can feel it, man. Yeah.
has the $2 bill. And like I wish so it says 1985 in the corner. Hold on.
Oh, it does say 1985 on it. Oh, wow.
So, dude, and it shows my name up in the
I
other
didn't know
corner.
you had
I
it
had
either.
no idea you had this.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so you guys know now I am not effing with you.
Okay, that was
Dude, that's
that he
nuts.
was
That's
just
nuts.
talking
He said we're
about it, and
talking and he
then
brings it
all of a
out.
sudden he brings it out. What?
Dude,
That's
like
so
for real? You've got
Thank
that.
you, man.
You didn't know what? Well, now you know. You can hear me out here rambling. Okay, well,
Oh, I love
it's
that,
completely
man.
unexpected.
Okay, sorry, I
Yeah,
distracted you.
no,
Oh, that's
it's just like
amazing. Thank
my
you.
son's here. He's like trying to discreetly like hand us this money. I'm like, dude, this is
I
like
thought he was like wanting me to go make a deposit or something, and then I picked up the
it's
$2
the
bill.
$2 bill.
And you
I
haven't seen it in a long time?
literally have not seen that since my mom died,
Oh my
and
god.
son had it. I'm happy you have it. Don't lose it, dude.
Don't.
That's crazy. That might have to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
But
then
long story short, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry because I have not seen that thing for
do not
15
be
years or
sorry.
10 years
Yeah.
since my mom died.
Yeah.
So that's nuts.
Your
But
face was priceless.
so,
Yeah.
so now you know that the story's at least legit. I
It is.
know where the bear is. I know for sure where the bear is. I could probably go grab
Yeah.
that. But so anyways, so I grow up, I go to Vegas. We have so much success that we get like the platinum diamond card from MGM, and MGM was like all these different versions of, so it was like what, Mandalay Bay and MGM and New York, and all these things. We were doing it up
And
in
I
Vegas.
had never been to Vegas until I went with him the first time, and he's showing me around, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And
I-
then he would just walk around. He'd be like, okay, we're going to this hotel, and he'd pick a certain machine, and be like, "Okay, we're done with this one." Then he would go to a different one, and, like, every single machine he would pick, we would win, and I'm like, "What? This is crazy." So I tried to go off by myself, nothing,
And
but
I was gonna ask you if anything
yeah,
happened with
no,
you.
nothing, done, and I'm like, "How do you know this?"
I
And he's like, "I don't know, I just know."
So
you just
Ryan,
feel it, and
you went in with the intention knowing that
it was gonna happen.
something okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
you could pick up on
I
what
can
was
feel
coming.
like so like there's times like we and I know Brandy loves this. Dude, so there was even a time where I had just broke my leg. We were talking a pretty decently broken leg,
Mhm.
and I still went to Vegas for the reunion. So I had this like knee cart,
Knee
and
scooter.
and I put like dirt bike handlebars on it, and I put like the front number plate and a front fender on it,
That's great.
just to kind of be annoying
I
mostly.
love it, I
But
love it.
I just thought it was cool, right? So I'm going around on this knee cart, and we are in Mandalay Bay, and okay, I have to say one more thing about Mandalay Bay. So we had so
Go
much
ahead.
success in Mandalay Bay that Mandalay Bay would give us tickets to like their penthouse thing on top, their club up there, and
God.
then they had a band that was like their resident band. So it was this band called Steel Panther, and Steel Panther is like this funny
It's like
I
like
an
know
80s spoof band.
80s
yeah,
spoof
I know
band.
Steel Panther. I cannot remember how I remember, but I
They
do.
were on
Okay.
America's Got Talent, and they've been around for a long
Yeah,
time, but they're
yeah.
like an 80s spoof band. They like have
Mhm.
giant hair, and
Yeah.
we literally would go see them. I mean, for a while there, we were seeing them probably at least 7 times a year, and when
So
we were
great.
there, we would see them probably at least once or twice a night. Like, my whole family went at one point, and girls get on stage and do things. Brandy's been on stage a couple of times. Even
I
my
love it.
mom, after she had a mastectomy, and I won't say anything more, but even my mom, after having a mastectomy, went on stage at Steel Panther. So anybody
That's
out there wants to hate
amazing.
their mom, my mom is the coolest.
I was just gonna say your mom is the coolest. For sure.
So, so we just have all these great experiences, and it comes back on the taxes, and I have pride in saying that I can like do that because it is real for me, right? Like, I could go show this. I could go show my
Yep.
friends here in Colorado. They're like, dude, you're full of it. You know what to
Mhm.
do in Vegas. Or so I'm so successful that we had to have family members run time frames on me because we would go so late into the night, and I would have potentially lots and lots and lots of money on me. So I would have family
Oh,
members run
yeah.
basically, so I always had somebody with me. Um, and there's been other times where like I didn't have that supervision,
Yeah.
and we're talking like
And then he lost the money.
well,
So it's not always 100%.
yeah. So then when you're on your taxes and you're claiming that you just won like $60,000, then you lost like 45 of it in like 10 minutes later, but you don't have that 60,000. That creates a little bit of a problem. But I'm so happy to have that problem. I'm happy to have that problem because it meant I did it right. So it's but it's all fun, right? Like, a lot of
Mhm.
this too for me is just like fun and leading with the heart and not being serious, and because I'm not trying to go there and make a living in Vegas, like, it would come for me, right? But when I would want to get greedy, when I'd want to like keep pushing and keep spending the
Yeah.
money and not just enjoy what had been gifted to me for all intents and purposes, I would lose it. You know what I mean? And so just as many nights as there's positive, there'll also be these, somber mornings where it's like, oh,
That
you know what I
sucks.
mean? And
I'm sorry, honey.
But I
oh
think
no.
he's always known about this, and I have too, being with him, and we've had so many conversations over the years, just like, okay, yes, this is, I can do these things, but where do I go next? And I will never forget when he found out about the Psy Games. It was like a kid on Christmas. He comes bounding in the house and he's like, Brandy, I have the answer. This is where it's going to go. This is where my next step is besides Vegas. And I'm like, okay, what? And he's like, they're having these Psy Games. It's like the Psychic Olympics. And he's telling me all about it. So we're so excited to go and didn't really know what to expect. Like, he's doing all
Yeah.
this training and stuff before that he thinks it's going to be, but we didn't honestly really know what to expect. And
Hold on before you go into the second, because I want to do one more thing real quick.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So through all the racing, so I wanted to get into all the side game stuff and all the side stuff and the
Mhm.
competition part of it, right? Because that's really what the side games was. Is it was a
Yeah.
psychic competition,
Mhm.
put on by scientists, overseen by generals, and commentated by teachers and influencers and professionals in
And
the field, right?
mhm.
So I want
Yep.
to get into all that, but I got to tell you just two more things, kind of
Please.
on the spiritual side, right? It's this connection with people. I call it my love overlay, and this ability to connect. and I do think it's a connection through a lack of judgment. So, but it's this connection with people, this love overlay, right? So 2015 comes, I die. Um, I,
Oh,
yeah. So 2015 comes. So my mom dies in 2015. I'm emotional. Was still, I wasn't young. I was in my 30s, but like still reasonably young compared to where I am now, and emotional. And my mom had died in like April, and the series finales are in like September, right? For motocross racing. So I had a moment to process it, but I'm like, and I was like right there. I was like second or third, and like the difference between one position was the difference of me getting top 3 at the end of the year, which is money and trophies and all
okay.
this other stuff, or being at the like 5th position or out of it at all. So we do this race. I remember being at the race with my race team. Shout out to Colton and Dan and Michelle. Um, but I have this huge race. Supercross and motocross are different. I'll kind of talk about that in the Psy Game stuff. But motocross, you do 2 motos and it's your best overall these 2 motos, right? So, and there's like, I think at that time there was legit probably like 50 dudes. You'd have a full gate plus
Wow.
some. So you just had tons of people. There's tons of energy. Um, it was my local track, literally the track I've ridden thousands and thousands of times and still ride. I just caught a jump weird and it threw me sideways going about 60 miles an hour. So I landed what's called high sided. So instead of landing, and going, I came off the jump and got kind of twisted. So I landed with both my wheels sideways and flipped over on the
Oh,
side. And um,
His whole left side, like his head hit first, then his shoulder and his leg.
yeah, my shoulders, my hips, my legs, all my ribs. Like I was unconscious. They got everybody. They actually red flagged the race. I actually have the medics flag because I shout out to Joel. Joel's no longer with us, but any of the SRAC or RMXA guys, you remember Joel the medic. Joel gave me
oh,
the medic flag from the track because I died. And so he's like, dude, you earned it. So I have that in my trophy room. Not that that's a positive trophy, but that's what I do.
well,
Uh,
yeah.
so long story short, I die. This image is seared into my oldest brain, my wife's brain. She can't run. Like the way that this track called IMI is set up is they have a parking lot, and of course the jump I died on was on the complete other side of the track with the whole track in between. So she had to like my whole family and all my race team ran around like this whole like half
Oh
mile track to
god.
get to the
To
other
get
side, and
oh,
the ambulance was there when they got there. And
And when we got there, he was still unconscious.
so long story short, I'm dead for about 4 minutes. Um, I don't remember anything for what was it? Probably I would say I don't know, somewhere between 48 to 72 hours, somewhere
okay,
between 2 and 4 days. I was kind of in and out of it, not really
okay.
knowing what was happening. Day 4, I remember kind of getting my sense about me, and they were telling me all this stuff was broken, that I was going to be there for a minute. And then I'm like, no, guys, you guys forgot my leg. There is something definitely wrong with my leg too. You guys did all this stuff with my shoulder and my upper body. My leg's broken. So finally they went back and caught my leg being broken. So I ended up having one more nonsense plate put in. But so I go through all this stuff. I'm in the hospital while passing for all intents and purposes. I have this complete out of body experience. And it literally was my mom picking me up by the ear off that jump. And I still hesitate on that jump to this day, just and it's even tamer now than it used to be. But it's just, that like memory, right? Like it still
Oh,
hits.
yeah.
Like I'm gonna
It'll
be extra
always be with
special
you.
cautious on that jump.
Yeah.
But I just, in this out of body experience, it was like an astro projection with like my mom kind of guiding me the same way the spirits guide Ebenezer Scrooge. You know what I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but like just trying to give a reference so people can understand what was going on in my head. My mom was guiding me through different portions of my life, and even kind of that telepathy side when I was done, like showing me the pain on my family's face and showing me the impact that this was having, showing me even kind of bigger than that, just all these things, right? And I come back with that hyper color overlay, and even to this day that has not gone away. I kind of wish it would
Really.
sometimes. So it's kind of like, when you put on those red and blue glasses that kind of
Yeah,
make things project out or not.
yeah.
And
3D.
The
yeah.
3D ones, yeah.
But literally how your vision looks in that 3D kind of blue red, where you kind of get this pulsing of, different things pop out because the colors are getting different, right?
Uh,
So what happens for me is since then I've kind of gotten this functional overlay of color. and that color holds emotion, that color holds thoughts, that color holds the color or heat or all these different things, right? So I come back, we're talking like 2015, that is intense. Like we have a bunch of property. When I look over our ground or our properties, it's like sometimes the ground will kind of pulse like greens and blues and colors and emotion, and you're just feeling it. You're feeling earth. You're feeling that field. And
Yep.
I want to talk about all that crazy stuff over on another side, but I got to get to this part, but I got to give you the backstory to it.
Please do.
So you get these color overlays, right? And you get this love overlay is what I call it, where it's not a judgment because I know in my head to everyone else, there's probably not all these blues and greens and colors and emotion and beautifulness,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm aware because I'll ask my sons and sometimes they'll get it, but it's just not the same for them, right? Or Brandy, I'm like, dude, are you seeing these colors? And she's like, yeah, it looks pretty, but I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Um, dude, sunsets. But like you're feeling all this extra, right? You're getting all this extra sensory, and it's not just coming in visually. It's kind of like you're getting it in your forehead, straight up, like your third eye. It's kind of
Yeah.
a weight or a pressure that you just kind of feel, not like a
I know what you mean.
migraine, but like a positive, but kind of like someone just got their hand. They're like, dude,
Yeah, it's like your
you're
finger
zoned
on
in.
you or something. Yep. I know
Right,
exactly what you
and
mean.
and in you have your hands. I don't know about you, but my hands, my palms, my fingers, my
Mhm.
skin in general, but my
Same.
hands, my palms, and I hate to be like this, but I look cool as a mohawk. I'm a punk rock guy, but the mohawk, honestly, kind of the same way that like I don't know, a shark has a dorsal fin, or
Mhm.
like you know, you
You
might
wear it
have
up
you
as
have
an
ears
antenna.
to collect the data to filter it into your
Uh-huh.
head. The
Yeah.
mohawk legit kind of catches everything and kind of helps it
It's
feed
your
in.
antenna. Yeah, I do
So
hair. I do
antenna.
hair, and I love that, like, our hair can be our antenna, so having it pointed
Yeah, no,
up.
it really can,
Yeah,
and,
it is.
and and that's the same way that your hair can be the antenna is the same way that when you enter a room and you don't have to know anything about that room, but the hair on your skin will raise,
Yep.
and you get the goosebumps. You'll feel the energy, whether it's good, bad, or sometimes you just kind of get overwhelmed with those emotions in your heart,
Mhm.
and you can feel it express in your skin or your body and your
Yep.
veins, your bones. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
um,
So I
and
do.
that's what it is. And it's sitting with that for long enough because it doesn't turn off that you're able to like functionally put that into your daily life and let it express itself and just get
Right.
one more sensory input of what's coming in, right? And
Yeah.
it's just one more overlay of your part to life, just one more sense, right? And um so like I was saying with all that too, you have kind of this spiritual aspect too of it, right? Because I don't it wasn't there before. The precognition was there, like, that's always been there, but, like and the weird stuff as a kid, whatever, like, I have no
Mhm.
negative for it, so for me, it was just like being on a sports team or
Yeah.
just art class, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
it never had any negative connotation, it was just one more thing I did in my school. I don't wanna give people the impression that that's why I am the way I am. I think the bigger portions are the human interactions and that connection with people along with
Mhm.
kind of this color overlay from dying. uh, the other part of it too is with all these injuries I've had, I mean, we're talking 30 years of injuries. Um, you learn to sit with pain, right? And you learn how
Mhm.
to meditate through pain. And one of the things that I cannot thank universe, have enough gratitude, just that I will never lose in my life is these opportunities we've had to meet people. We meet all these bands, like I don't know, Brandy, in our time period through the motocross,
Mhm.
they like having the motocross ramp dude out there. I mean, how many bands have we met like in
Oh,
person?
that's so cool.
And
That's
not
fun.
paying for it. We didn't buy the backstage pass. We got
Yeah.
invited. You know what I mean? And like one of the things I want to make sure I say because that I think for me and Brandy both had the most one of the times it had the most spiritual impact were we would go to Big Island. We love Big Island, Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Mhm.
And we went on this tour with one of the hierarchy of one of the native tribes, right? And that's how he would describe it. One of
Mhm.
the locals, you know what I mean? So within all this, he, because they have like tours and stuff, but like when you're cool, you can go do a little bit extra. So my dad was with us and he drove this ATV or like a side by side with one of my sons. My youngest, this one wasn't born yet, but with my oldest. but we go on this tour, right? And so he takes us all the way up into like these mountains, and Hawaii has cold parts.
Mhm.
So like when you start getting up into the mountains and to the
Ira,
terrains, and
yeah.
so what he did is he brought us, dude, come on. He brought us into this like this forest that was sacred and private property. It was
Wow.
literally sacred property, and what was so unique about it was that it had a waterfall that came from rocks, and so there was no lead up. And it was just this like natural spring, right? Right.
Right.
Like a
Yeah.
sacred pond
And
too.
so
Wow.
and so what would happen is this guy brought us there, and he's like, and he kind of invited us to do like a local meditation or like a ceremony. And it was us, it was basically our group and like one other small group that was with us that was also racers. But like we're going and doing this, and we're walking around these sacred ponds, and like there's the ancient like stuff written into the stone, and like and I'm not trying
Yeah.
to pretend like I'm a Hawaiian culture professional. Like I'm aware I'm in a sacred spot. You can feel
Mhm.
it.
The
You can just
energy.
feel like it, although I'm not
Mhm.
Hawaiian, but
Mhm.
you can just feel the like intensity and just his actions there. You know what I mean? We go and we do this, and he invites us to go swim, and that's like something that's not heard of. Like, and like they even
Really?
had to have permission, but because like we were doing the death defying stuff, and we were legit, like we're interested. We were
Mhm.
legitimately happy and thankful to be there. And it wasn't just
Mhm.
like one more thing on our stop to Hawaii because it's something we do all
Okay.
the time. Like we were thankful that this dude showed us this part of his
And
life, his culture.
it wasn't part of the normal tour. And he
Really?
even said to
Okay.
us, he was like, I feel this calling to take you guys here to this sacred place of my people.
I
And
was
we're
gonna say he was
okay,
probably
yeah,
picking up
this
on
is
something
amazing.
from you guys.
It was
Wow.
really, really neat.
And so to keep going on that, not that they're directly linked, but
Mhm.
we're on the same vacation. We are doing snorkeling. We're active. We don't sit. We don't.
Mhm.
We like the beach, but I would rather go swim with the fish than just sunbake on the beach. But so we're out there swimming. We're still on Big Island.
Mhm.
We're swimming, and we have these giant eagle rays. I mean, we're talking like manta ray size eagle rays, and they're swimming around us, and they're like giving us this like meeting,
It's
and
almost like a dance.
and so we're like, oh, this is amazing. So we're like, okay, we come back in, we decide to go, we hopped to Maui, and we did
Mhm.
Captain Cook's Cove. While at Captain Cook's Cove, so I'm the shark. My spirit animal is a shark and a lion. She
I love
brings
that.
on like a horde, like a pack of like black tipped reef sharks that just will not leave her alone.
But I
But
wasn't
not like
scared.
afraid. Yeah.
I
Wait, yeah,
wasn't
yeah, yeah.
scared. Like the feeling was like magical. I don't know how else to describe
Like a
it.
sign.
And so, like, you would think, okay, you're in the water and you're
Yeah.
being surrounded by sharks, you would be scared. But the feeling I had was like, no, you shouldn't be scared. Like, this is a sign.
We definitely were like, we're gonna not jump in the middle of them. You
And
know what I
but
mean?
like
Like,
everybody else, he kind of stayed
yeah, we got
and just
yelled at.
enjoyed.
We got the whistle because there was like there's like 15 sharks in the water. We got the whistle, and we're like, come sharks. But, like
Awesome.
we do this like night manta ray dive, and that if you've never done a night manta ray dive with like a 30-foot manta ray like right here, and we've done these other shark dives. We live in Colorado, so we're
Mhm.
near the mountains, and we would go hiking, and we always see bears, and thank God we
Mhm.
haven't seen a mountain lion yet. But if we did, I don't know that I would always be afraid. It's almost like animals kind of sense it on us, and I want to make sure I said all that because, I the biggest sign that I've had lately, kind of post Psy Games, is I had this hawk, and for 3 weeks straight, this hawk, I post all sorts of videos so people can kind of
Mhm.
get the layout of my house. We have neighbors, but we're probably our closest neighbor is probably 70 yards from where our house is. So
Okay.
we got some space between us. But this hawk kept landing on all these other houses and just watching me for like 3 weeks straight. In like the
Oh.
last week, so our closest neighbor on our east has an outbuilding, and that outbuilding looks directly into my garage, and I'm sure
Mhm.
they love that because I'm always in my garage. But but this bird, this hawk, like as big as my Boston Terrier, at least probably bigger. This hawk is just sitting on this fence post, just watching me daily, and we're not talking like it would leave at like a certain time and come back. Like it would just be there till I shut the garage. And so, and like it would even sit there and like like taunt, I feel like, these owls that we also have on our property. We have 2 owls that
Do
come on our
you? Oh,
property.
wow.
Um, there's some other stuff with that. They eat stuff
Mhm.
on our roof. You can tell if
You can
something's
hear
still
them.
alive when they're eating it, or, where they
Wow.
are in the house.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes it's
weird.
a little gnarly. Sometimes you just turn the music up a little bit. You're just like, Mother Nature, I love you.
Wow,
Now
but owls hold a lot of energy, and there's a lot of synchronicities with them, so wow.
right?
Have
So,
you read Chris Bledsoe's
Mhm.
book? Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
when Hawk thing was
but hold on,
happening,
hold on.
that's what it was reminding me of,
So,
the owl experience he
so,
That's
described.
what it sounds like. Yeah.
so this hawk comes in. So it starts the last week it was there. It was like giving me some behavioral mod. It like progressively each day moved a little bit closer and like was like looking to see if I was okay with it, right? And the last day it was here, literally was the last day it was here. After like 3 weeks, it like went from this outbuilding to our fence, and our fence kind of leads up to where it attaches to a portion of our house. So it starts like landing closer and closer on this fence. And then it ends up coup de grace and it lands literally on I have a like a roll bar or a light bar on my truck. It
Mhm.
lands on the bar of my truck in the threshold of my garage and is just like staring me down, like looking into my soul. And like I'm
That
like, dude, are you gonna eat me? Are you gonna land on my shoulder? Like,
So I
are
need to go get a bird
yeah.
glove.
Um, and so I have videos of this too. Like I posted it because I was like, because like I didn't know if I was gonna get attacked or if it had some bigger meaning. Like I might need to know what's happening here. So the biggest thing I was thinking is like maybe it's trying to eat my dog. My dogs weren't. We have 2 dogs. It did
yeah.
not care about our dogs. We have a larger what is Calahuda.
Catahoula leopard dog.
So we have a
Okay.
Boston Terrier and a Catahoula leopard dog. So that dog's reasonably big, like like
Mhm.
husky size. And the hawk did not care. Hawk did. It was like it was just focused on me. And so it's there for like 10 minutes, just looking me down. And I'm like, at first I was like, oh my god, you know what I mean? And after a moment, it just was like staring me down. And I straight up, I'm an eye looker
Mhm.
because I think you can read into people and you can see the
Yes,
soul
I
when
am
you look
too.
in the thing's
Mhm.
eyes.
Mhm.
I'm just like looking into this thing's eyes. It's looking back at me, and and it's not doing the side thing. It's like, you
It's
know,
solid
it's
on you.
it's on me. It happened for like 10 minutes and then it left. It came back like maybe one time a week later and like was giving me like a peace out and
And
then
for
it
a
left
brief
like
moment and then
probably like
gone.
September-ish, and it's never been back. The owls are still here. The owls live here, but like
Okay.
oh my god, this is where I get off track. We live just north of DIA. We have other things that come too. I
Yeah,
won't
what
get
the hell's going on with that?
dude.
That
It's all the time.
You have no idea. So we live north of DIA. We've tracked the plane routes. We have things like orbs and craft and
like,
just other things that come, and we've all seen it. Like we can see it at like 3 in the afternoon. I hope you're old enough to get this reference. You remember Johnny Five's Alive, the robot from like the 80s and 90s, or like Wally from like
oh,
Wally, who's like Wally. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So he's got the like the square head with kind of the 2 eyes, right? Like
Do they
or like
have,
a
like
boom or like a 90s boombox where it has 2 circles and it's square.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So these follow the planes in, and I won't go into craziness, but we've seen things that maybe are about the size of a car follow planes. We've had blobs and orbs and all these other things, and and uh, just all sorts of craziness. We saw all sorts of like gazillion-dollar jets that fly through. We're right in the flight path of one of the
Mhm.
main landing parts of the North Pad for DIA. So we see just lots of craziness out here, and
Crazy.
that can't be explained. We had a
Mhm.
jetpack thing fly through, is what I'll say.
Oh,
It looked like a Ninja Turtle on a jetpack, and this was not like
so it
It's
wasn't a
like
at
3 in the
person.
night.
afternoon,
It was like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. It was the craziest thing.
So they're
and
not hiding anything.
no, and
No.
it's almost like these things want me to see, and kind of the same way that like I can kind of get the sense for the slot machine. I can kind of get when these things are going to show. So like and we'll
Mhm.
kind of jump into the side stuff
Yeah.
now, but like
Mhm.
when I overtrain for the side, which I absolutely can do. Sometimes if we because I have a training schedule, if we
Mhm.
don't go out and train for the side, what we do is then we'll go and we'll skywatch
Mhm.
and or do some kind of more spiritual things. Like I won't lie, like there's been so many synchronicities, on this like spiritual side coming from the Psy Games. And I didn't talk about this, but I used to work on Pearl Street at this place called Mesa Vista, and
Mhm.
I had this person pull me off, tell me that this is like 2018, so pre-COVID. I'm gonna be this lion and this shark, and I'm this strong warrior, and I'm gonna be this leader into this new future and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's amazing, thank you. But never really put too much into it. 2020 comes, you have all this death. I literally in my I guess now we're talking probably 15 to 20 years, depending on how long you want to talk about the professional part of it, not just being a part of my life, but working in that field. I've literally seen probably around 3,200 deaths, if not more.
Wow.
Um, Sat bedside for probably at least a few hundred of those, and working with the families and just being part of all these people's lives on both sides of it, and seeing the human process, seeing things that people don't see. Like if you're a nurse or a person in the field, you know what modeling or like a death rattle is, but if you don't know what that is because you're not there, that's something that can't be described, and it's
Right.
powerful. And when you're sitting there just all the time trying to be there in those last moments, and you have the telepathy, and you're trying to just console that person. And man, don't get me wrong, there's so many times where like people would be surrounded by their families and love, and like they die with a smile on their face. And you would see that soul pass, and it felt like a weight was lifted, and it felt positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm happy that person they lived their life to the fullest. They didn't have anything that they were upset about, and you could see it in the last moments. And you could also see on the flip side when people were maybe more afraid or more not, they were not excited for what was coming, is what I'll say. Maybe they wanted to be here a little bit longer because things weren't the way that they thought they were going to be, and you would just see that version of what that looked like on people and feel it on them, and
Yeah.
and 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 see that soul do something completely different. You know what I mean? And not that I would ever see a soul go to heaven or hell, but you
Yeah.
would
I know
feel
what
the
you mean.
pressure in the room the same way that you feel the colors. I love using that example because there's no way to feel colors. I'm fully aware of that.
Mhm.
But when you start to tap into this extrasensory stuff, you can. You can feel
Yeah.
heat, you can feel cold,
Yeah.
you can feel vibration, you can feel a frequency, you can feel a
Yeah.
field. You can feel if that field has emotion with it, like anger or sadness, the same way when a person's looking at you from another part of the room and you don't
Mhm.
know it, right? It's
Yep.
there. It's just a matter of like being tapped into it, right?
Yep.
And having your frequency, your antenna tune
Antenna.
into it, right?
Yep.
Um
So
for
cool.
years and years, I did the psychic stuff in terms of
Mhm.
like the telepathy. I worked in schools. I talked. I
Mhm.
literally worked everywhere in the community I could to try to use as much of that talent as I could, because I don't want people's lives to have to be harder than they are.
I love that.
Even if you're in crisis, throw me in, coach, because I would rather that person de-escalate with me, and it happens faster and sooner for everybody than having somebody else that probably is skilled and knows what's going
Yeah.
on, but maybe it takes 15 minutes compared to 5. Or maybe they don't know the best clinical practices. You know what I mean? And I keep up on
Right.
them. So,
But is it
and
the clinical practices that you're using or I know you are, but are you are also using, like, an energetic
yeah, I
way
mean,
about you?
100%.
That's
When
your
you're
thing?
you're you know, the good or bad, I love saying this, and I've caught some crap for using this word, and it's just the best word to describe to the general public, right? Because if you
Mhm.
start talking, like, you can talk very specifically about, conscious plasmoids to PhDs, but if
Right.
you start talking about that to the person that just is coming off the street, they're like, "What are you even saying?" You know what I mean?
I
So
understand.
so I guess where I'm going with all this is like, I try to use these versions that like people can relate to, even if they're not in the
Mhm.
Psy community. So
Mhm.
when I say empath,
Mhm.
what I mean by that is I mean that like I can catch on people's nonverbals. I can feel their vibes or their emotion, their energy, and you have this degree of telepathy. Brandy was
Mhm.
kind of mentioning it. No matter where we go, literally no matter where we go, people will come to us because I think our energy that we give off is safe and comforting and non-judgmental, and so we get.
Mhm.
There can be millions of other people around, and somehow they always pick us out, and we've just come to know, like, we are both in the field of helping people. Like, I have been a
Absolutely.
teacher, I teach 3rd
Mhm.
grade, and this is my 19th year teaching, and he's a social
Mhm.
worker, and I think just that energy makes them feel safe, and they
Yep.
want to seek us out for advice or tell us their life story,
I mean,
and the boys are like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, mom and dad are
we
talking again. What is happening?"
Yeah.
sometimes we'll acquire, you know I guess we'll call them single serving friends. Like we were at Universal. Like, you know what I mean? Like we were at Universal and this dude who you could just tell was lonely, and it's fine. Latched onto my family, and like we're doing Universal with this dude.
Just came and rode the rides with us.
You know what I
and
mean?
we're like,
And
okay.
I lovingly say this. I would hope that I could say that I'm a little bit psychic at this point.
Mhm.
I can tell what people's motives are because that's the
Mhm.
part, man. You can't turn it off. You know what I mean? You
No.
can sense other
Yeah.
people's emotions. You know when they're feeding you nonsense.
Mhm.
You know when that person or that individual that's in crisis, if it's really a crisis or are they trying to manipulate it. And if a person's trying to be like, hey, I have this great idea, but I'm gonna charge you all this money, or
Yeah.
you're gonna do this and have all these extra things. Like you get people's real intent. You see right through
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
There's no in between. You just know people, right? And not that you're reading their mind, but you're reading their intention. So it's not that I'm reading your mind, that I'm reading you're thinking of a 12. And sometimes I can do that. But I mean, like, I can just feel all of it radiating off you. And so when you're coming at me fake or in some sort of another manner, I'm aware of what you're even putting out before you even say anything to me. He hates it because because he'll think he's getting away with something, and I'm like, dude, just go do it. And he'll look at me like, how'd you know? um, but so we do all this. We have all this extra stuff, right? April comes along. So April 2025, we I even told people I was psychic. Like I would say it more in a lovingly sense because like I have the big statements and I have the taxes and I have all the stuff. I'd shown literally everybody in my family. I had shown most of my close friends. Like even my race crew knew that like I wasn't full of it. Just all these things, man. So we have all this leading up, right? Saying that you're probably psychic, but whatever. You're
Yeah.
probably just lucky. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you have all this stuff and you're a really good behavioralist, but you're a really good behavioralist. You're not psychic. You're really
Mhm.
lucky in Vegas, but you're not psychic. So, and that's fine. Like, I would accept that too. Like, I thought I was psychic, but what am I going to say?
Right.
Like, it was never a controlled environment. It was never put on by scientists and
No.
overseen by generals and had all this setting, right? So,
Yep.
I have a friend named Cheryl. Our families are close, and I've literally been friends with Cheryl since middle school. And Cheryl was there with both my kids being born, and we were there when their kids were born, just really close, tight knit families. We see the post from Emily Bledsoe about the
Mhm.
Psy Games on social media. And then I forget her name. It's the woman that always talks about the plasmoid stuff, but she's blonde. Anyways, uh,
Dana.
she
Dana.
she had
Yeah.
one about the Psy Games too, about how it was like the Hunger Games of the Psy Olympics.
Oh, is that what she said?
Yeah,
I
she had
love
a
that.
post about it being the Hunger Games of the Psy
Yeah.
Olympics. And so between those two, I was like, okay, so this has some traction. What is this? You know what I
This
mean?
is when he
This is
came
when I'm
like
like coming
like
inside.
a kid on
I'm
Christmas
like,
was like,
Brandy,
"Oh."
look at this. So you know what I mean? And
I love
so,
it.
I ended up signing up.
Mhm.
About a week later, maybe 2 weeks, we got an email back saying that we're going to be considered, but that we have to do this like login process and we have to go through this testing. So the testing went on for 2 weeks. You had 14
Mhm.
days to complete a certain amount of runs in 5 categories. And those ended up being the 5 categories that were in the side games.
Okay.
So that was remote viewing,
Mhm.
dowsing, mind sight,
Right.
precognition, and psychokinesis. Yep. And so what we did is I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm psychic. So let's test in all of them.
You'd never done any of these
Never,
things
I'd never,
specifically?
Not formally, no.
and so
Okay,
like
Lori.
my entire exposure to psi at all, like because even my mom was like metaphysical, but it wasn't really psi.
Mhm.
I had some exposure to the psi crew, but
Mhm.
not in a psi setting, if that makes sense. In a best clinical practice setting, not a psychic setting. Um,
Mhm.
so long story short, it's kind of I think it was influenced by the Monroe Institute and Hakeem, who put on the
Mhm.
Psy Games,
Yeah.
how they tested within all this. So we log in. I wish I could show, but one of the things I know for sure I signed is that I can't show that technology. So we test in these 5 things, right? So I test for all of them.
Mhm.
I think I'm still second in dowsing just this month in January. I keep falling off because people are coming, people are trying now. So we do all this testing. It's at least 15 runs over 2 weeks
Mhm.
of each of these testing games. And so what it
And you're
was
being
is it was
recorded? You're being
it's being
recorded, like
recorded,
okay.
and so what also happened too is you got like a leaderboard, I guess would be the way to put it.
Okay.
of like number of runs to the amount correct gave you a percentage, then your percentage put you on a leaderboard.
Okay,
So
cool.
so what would happen is even through this month, I had psychokinesis, and so psychokinesis testing was keeping a random number ball generated yellow
Mhm.
ball thing inside of a square that was randomly generated, and your goal was to keep it there for as long as you could, and that was your score. So I would say most people in testing were getting somewhere between like anywhere from like 15 to 45 seconds. I would say that was
Mhm.
pretty average. And then the
Mhm.
number ball would hit the side and your time would be done, right? I think I got mine up to like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, somewhere in there, like
What?
whatever, like 300 or 400 seconds would be. I had the highest
Mm.
score the whole time, and then somebody came in and booted me apparently. So now I'm in second. And then I had the highest score for dowsing till last month. So dowsing was picking a target in like a map or like a mountain. It was these
Okay.
different versions. So you would pick a target 1, 2, or 3 in some sort of a imaginary setting, right? And
Mhm.
so I had the highest for that. In my opinion, that also was a little bit more precognition. But I
Mhm.
had the highest testing in that, and I still had it through uh December, I think. And then I think another side component I know named Heather got me. So congrats. I'm still coming for you. Um but and then so then we did the testing for precognition, and that
Okay.
was pretty much exactly what it was in the Psy Games. There was either left, right, yes, no, which
Mhm.
target's correct, and then the more you did, you got better.
Right.
And then we did Mindsight, and I won't explain the whole entire process, but
Yeah.
basically what happened is they would give you like a color on the screen, and you would guess the color on the screen.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say guess, you're seeing the color on the
Right.
screen, and then you would hit a button that would coordinate to what that color was, and that's how you would
Okay.
test. Remote viewing. Remote
Yeah,
viewing,
remembering.
so remote viewing was a little bit different in terms of like it was kind of like dowsing in terms of it had like a
It's what it sounds the dowsing sounded like remote viewing a little bit.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
you're is it hard and I would say I mean, you kind of saw it. They were very similar programs.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
in terms of like functionality, I don't know that it was the best testing. Have to get I might have some involvement this year in 2026 and what that looks like, because
Cool.
I mean those two were so similar, but
Mhm.
in the same aspect, mind sight seeing through stuff and astral projection and remote viewing are all very similar. They're all
Very
different
similar.
expressions of the same. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So I tested top 5 in all the categories, and we're talking just the leaderboards. I don't know how many people tested, but just the leaderboards alone were up to like 15 people. So
Wow.
you're testing in a lot of people, and so once again, I either had the top testing or was top 5 for every category. We end up doing 2 live interviews prior to the Psy Games. So
Okay.
one was kind of like a technical, and where they did the intro videos for the Psy Games. That was the first one we did, and that was kind of when I was new. I was like, all right, well, this because I haven't been officially told that like I was in the Psy Games yet. And then they're like, we want to schedule this interview with you to see what you can do. But
Mhm.
it ended up being more of like the tech video where they made my intro video, and they talked to me, and it said my number one was dowsing, and that was cool because I was
Mhm.
number one at that time in dowsing, but I didn't even get to do dowsing in the Psy Games.
That's
Um,
right, I didn't think you did, yeah.
but so we do
Mhm.
that. That goes great. And exactly what you guys saw. There's a little bit cut out, but
Mhm.
what you guys saw in my intro video was pretty much that meeting,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit
Okay.
more talking about, some more details, but that was basically what it was. And then we did a second one, which was the mind site, very similar to what I hope to maybe do with you in a little bit later. But basically, we're showing Hakeem specifically on video live, like we are now, that you
Mhm.
can produce. And so I gotta just tell the story.
Mhm.
I'll give you the condensed version, but I mean, this just shows you the story of my life. We are racing in Elgibel.
Mhm.
We are racing BMX. So I also race BMX. I'm this moto dude.
Mhm.
I also do BMX. So
Love it.
we're in
I
this
love it.
place called Elgibel. I'm in this race. Literally, like we know what time they're going to do the mindsight testing, and we're just like, the
Oh, no.
races are moving really fast, and so we're in this environment, and we're committed to the race. We're not we're Elgibel is nowhere near Brighton. And at this point, I know I'm in a championship run for the racing. I don't 100% know I'm in the side games yet, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
I'm like, we're doing the race. So of course, the timing is like the moment that the mind sight starts, So on a bicycle race, you put your bicycle up against a gate, and they have this thing that says "Riders ready," you know, and like literally they're saying "Riders ready." I'm on the gate, and Brandy's like, "Hakeem's on the phone." I mean, and then the gate guy sees it and is like, "Do you want me to stop it?" I'm like, "Well, because everybody's on the gate too." So the guy, I'm like, "No, just send it. I'll just get to the bottom." So then we race. I ended up getting second in the race. Literally just drop my bike, run over to where we had this computer set up because we knew it was going to be right at that time. And so I run over and I'm all amplified and like I get on just like I am with you. I log on. I'm like, "Hey
Yeah.
everybody," and I have my trophy, and then everything dies for everyone. Like it's the internet shuts off and makes everybody's screen go crazy.
Are you
Right, and they're,
kidding
like, in
me?
the middle in the zone
Yeah,
just trying
they're
to
all
do
in the
this stuff.
zone. So I come in and like I'm already late and I'm coming in with this trophy and I'm running, I'm all sweaty. The mask is all sweaty. And like, so I get in and I think I did well. I know I did well.
Yeah.
So we get the mine site done. Everybody was like, congratulations on the trophy. Because Brandy was showing the phone too. Like, there he is. You know what I mean? So everyone kind of knew what was happening. But
It's just so
just that
crazy, like, just going from one thing to the other, but bringing that energy in, I guess, was a good thing,
Yeah,
but
and
man.
so it's the adrenaline, man. I think
Yeah.
everybody else needs that calm moment. Just put me in the fire, dude. The fire is where I do the best. You know what I mean? And so I do that. Within like a few days of that, we get the "Yes, you're in the Psy Games."
Okay.
I didn't get told what games I was going to be in, but I got the "Yes, you're in
What?
the Psy Games."
Uh-huh.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so we go and do this race, and we find out basically we're in Psy Games, but we don't know what we're doing. Right.
Mhm.
So I have my trainer Cheryl. So we get the final thing, you're in, right? And we had started to train, and I even did this like announcement video to like my moto community because
Mhm.
I didn't want to be seen as fake. So from the very
Yeah.
beginning, from the moment that we signed up for the Psy Games, I did like this announcement video on my Facebook, like to my sponsors, to my friends, to my team, to my family. I said, I think I'm psychic. I think I have these abilities. I signed up for this and I'm going to show you guys my entire process. So that way, if something does happen here, because I think it might, nobody can say anything because I'm going to show you exactly what I do step by step the whole way through. And,
You're forced to come out of the psychic closet.
dude, a little bit,
Pretty much.
pretty much. Uh, well, and and it was the right opportunity, right? Like,
Yeah. I'm very similar to you. Go through my whole life dealing with all this stuff. And it was actually the Psy Games, though I didn't compete, that where a lot of things were like, I am, I am, I am. So you were given that, it's okay, like you are,
well,
you know?
especially when you're doing the testing too, right? And you're
Mhm.
literally testing against other people that say they are, and not to say they
Yeah,
aren't or they're better or worse or anything else, but it's not like you're just taking a random sample of the population. You're taking the people that say they are, and not only that say they are, that say they can do it on command and do it in front of people in a competition. So we go to the Psy Games. Well,
mhm,
I remember what I was going to say. You get this validation, right? When you're physically doing these tests,
mhm,
and you can't cheat a test. You can't cheat a right wrong. You can't cheat a left right. You know what I mean? And it's just like, dude, you're number one. You're ranking up this leaderboard. What is happening? You know what I mean? And um, I hadn't met anybody that I met at the Psy Games at this point to know
mhm,
who I was up against.
mhm,
I'm just seeing other screen names of people that are trying,
right,
right? So I meet Dahlia for the first time on the
mhm,
mine site thing with
mhm,
Hakeem and all that. And I meet a few of the other folks who did mine site. But really past that, I still did not know anything, right? So I think we're talking like late May going into July is when I finally was like, all right, screw it. We're gonna train for all of them. We're not gonna care like what other people
mhm,
think. It's as
right,
much as it's a competition. Like I kept instilling to everybody, this is a competition. It's a competition. Like this isn't just me saying I'm something. This is
right,
a competition where I'm gonna have to show. You know what I mean? And so
mhm,
we train. I show all my sessions. I show from the very start where we're using Uno cards as like colors to
No,
do
phase 10.
phase 10, phase 10. See, this is why I have her.
okay,
Phase 10 for color cards. And, we're doing just black reds and we're
mhm,
struggling with just black reds. And we're just trying to train. And no one knew what the games were going to look like. Like
right.
even though the testing, I thought Psychokinesis was going to be doing something on a computer, honestly. You know what I
You
mean?
didn't
Not,
know till you got there.
yeah. So we're just training in our ways. Like we're like, okay, well, if you're gonna say that you have this precognition, what are ways that we can test precognition? Well, black red. We can test the
Mhm,
Zener cards and see if we're gonna get
mhm,
shapes right. You know what I mean? Or
right,
really anything that you're predicting something, you can test your
Right.
precognition. So we kind of systemized it, in terms of like made a regiment out of it, made a tracking log of it, so we could see the progression of it, right?
Mhm.
And we started that right from the beginning, and that was really important to me also to like if someone wants to know, I can show you exactly where we were back in
Right.
like April, you know what I mean, compared to
That's
now, you know what I
really
mean? And
cool.
we finally get the final say.
Mhm.
We're talking 2
Mhm.
weeks out. We're finally in. And I even said I'm not going to be Dr. Xavier, who's an X-Men guy who
Right.
uses stuff to move stuff with his mind. I'm like, I will never be that. There's no way I can do psychokinesis. I literally posted that like 7 times. That I'm
Really?
not like
And
I'm
you even told yourself, like, you shot yourself in the foot, but not really. Yeah.
Yeah, so I shot myself in the foot, and I'm like, I'm probably the precog. I can
Mhm.
probably do the mind sight. Put me in, coach. Moving stuff in your mind, like that just sounds so. That sounds like 11. I'm like zoning myself up. Like, please just don't give me psychokinesis. Don't give me psychokinesis. Give me any of these other ones because I know I got those unlocked and I can test that. But how do you test psychokinesis?
Right.
Like,
Right.
and at that time, I wasn't part of this Psy community, so I didn't really know what a Psy wheel was. I found out about a Psy wheel in that last 2 weeks. That like where you
Mhm.
put the needle and you put the paper. So I had like
Yep.
a week, literally a week of like, okay, sure, and that was literally it. That was all it was. Otherwise, I was on the computer trying to keep the ball in the square. And so we fly out there. We got our flight at the last moment. Charlottesville was kind of a small airport, is what I'll say. But we get to our hotel. And so funny, dude, because like it was like the psychic was turned on. The moment that we left to go to that airport,
Mhm.
it was like my heart and my adrenaline and my happiness, right? My joy. Like we're making all these fun videos because I'm like trying to keep it lighthearted. Because I always tell my wife like whenever I get upset, like I affect electricity, it can also go very bad.
Really?
Like I can get very, very
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah.
I'm mostly peace and love and love and I know what energy I put out, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
aware pretty consistently of what energy I'm putting out. And man, universe or life or God, anything gives me a reminder when I'm not putting out that light because like things will drain, turn off, our internet will die, our breakers will pop, like
In his truck, the like electrical,
but like the dashboards and the
Yeah,
stuff
it'll
that's
just
going
the
start.
on.
music and everything will just stop working if he's like super
My
amplified.
training shop, our microwaves, anything, the lights will
Wow.
just turn off or turn on or do something crazy when I'm like
Wow.
getting amplified. Wherever Axel went, he knows
And
how to
you've never
amplify people.
practiced electrokinesis? You never practiced
No,
electro?
and I
Yeah.
still don't know how to other than getting really pissed off. The electronics can feel it, my family can feel it, my animals
That's
can
crazy.
feel it. But I guess so. So, anyways, there's all this other stuff,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
We go to the Psy Games. We get there. The night before the Psy Games, we go to like a pre kind of run through. I didn't really post any videos of that because we sign stuff just saying we can't post certain things, right? So
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
even
okay, yeah.
pushing the limits on some of the stuff I'm posting.
Yeah. Makes
Thank you,
sense.
Hakeem, for not getting mad. We learned kind of what it's going to look like. I
Mhm.
learned, I once again I found out about 2 weeks before that I was going to be in mindsight, psychokinesis, and precognition. And even though I
Okay.
tested for all five, and I made it known to them that I tested on all five, and I was first in dowsing, and they didn't let me do dowsing,
Here.
and they didn't let me do remote viewing. I was fifth in remote viewing. But anyways, but I mean, I also
Yeah.
though I think they brought in all these people. You had people from
Yeah.
Australia. You had people from I want to say Brazil. Was it
Brazil,
Brazil.
Carol.
Bassi, right? And so
Oh,
we
he's
had
from Brazil.
Australia, England, Brazil.
Yep.
We
Yep.
had I mean, there was just so many different
Yeah.
people from all around the country, from all around the world that came to
Mhm.
compete, right? And so I
Right.
totally get that, like, even though I tested five, I still got to do three, and I
Right.
showed that I can do all three. I wish they would let me do all five and have five of those trophies. The
I'm
money
just
wasn't
like,
ever most
knowing
important.
your energy now, I'm like, yeah, he's just like, "Why didn't I get all 5?"
Dude, I want it. I want it. You know what I mean? But like, so we got to do three. We run through the run through. It was amazing. We do Friday, and I just want to talk about because I do want to give Hakeem some credit because man, it was amazing.
Yeah. Oh
And
my god.
we were on cloud nine for like a week. I couldn't
Mhm.
sleep.
I
I
bet.
think that just that energy in me was like still going. You know what I mean? And uh,
Well, and then just the incredible people that we met at the Psy
like
Games and
Yeah.
the
yourself and
connections. And
I
it's
couldn't
a whole
sleep, and I
different
didn't
energy when
compete.
when you're around people who are like-minded and into that. It was just a whole different feeling.
The room was electric every single day. It
right?
was
Yes.
incredible.
And Friday comes, right? And it's really important to me to represent the people that I hold in my heart, right? So I wore my BMX jersey to Friday to those lectures. I didn't care. I know I was the only one there that probably wasn't, most people were in suits or at least dressed,
Polo
casual.
or
Like I
something,
should have
yeah.
been dressing like as a social worker. I was in my race jersey and jeans. You know what I mean? I definitely know that made me stand out I've been the Happy Gilmore of the Psy crowd the entire time,
Yeah.
just
I
kind of
love that
crashing
so
things
much.
and not being the norm. And
Yeah.
I wore my race jersey though because that's part of the group that makes me whole, man. Brought me love and brings me part closer to my heart, man. It makes me feel more whole. So I wore that jersey. One of the most powerful moments that I just have to talk about because we met so many amazing people, but there's a couple of things that really stood out. And I met Kids of Wonder, the kid that
Yes.
was there, and
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean. We were just in the hotel, just kind of scoping it out. You got to do a track walk. You got to do a
Yeah.
track walk if you're gonna get there, and I want to know what I'm seeing or at least where I'm
Heck
going. And
yeah.
we meet him there, and we talk to him and his dad, and it was just this cool interaction. And like, I don't think he knew what to expect either. So when we first met, I'm like, yeah, I'm a perceptualist. I'm one of the guys. And, like he doesn't know who I am. I don't know who he is. And
Mhm.
we're just, none of us really know what this is going to look like on the
Right.
following days.
No.
So, it's just kind of formal. We go through the lectures, we hear everyone from Danny Sheehan, and we hear just these people that you see on TV and that you are aware of, Chris Bledsoe. And I mean, I just, there was too many to name. I mean, those are just the ones. Andy Sheehan is like right up front, and along with like Colonel John Alexander right up front. And dude, military generals are what got me. Colonel John Alexander and like Croft and like Danny Sheehan who's in the government. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like these are like the real dudes. And like I'm meeting this dude. Like I'm shaking this dude's hand. I'm in my race jersey, kind of looking grumpy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't know. This dude's probably looking at me like, what is this guy? You know what I mean? But
It was crazy because I did the same thing on Friday and I met up with Chris, but same thing. Danny Sheehan walked by and him and Chris were just chatting. And my friend Gio and I are looking at like, where are we right now?
yeah.
What is happening?
Not to be weird, but like Dahlia, I'm just gonna say this because I love Dahlia. I think she's
Mhm.
amazing. Dahlia's the standard. Dahlia's the queen right now, and like Dahlia is the
Oh,
standard. If you're gonna say you're a psychic, Dahlia can show on command. Give her a box, give her blindfolds, give her everything, and she showed there to a crazy amount.
I mean, that standing ovation because you were sitting beside me.
oh yeah. Sorry if I
There's
screamed too
nothing
loud.
there's nothing that can describe the room. When she got the colored donuts out, it was just
100%. You
100%
know,
like jaw dropped, everybody.
Sometimes I go over that in my head. I just want to relive that moment over
It
and
was
over.
incredible.
I'm just gonna say this. I was so intuitive mindsight. I was trying to feel the colors, and when I did I had three of those tiebreakers, three
Uh,
tiebreakers in a row, and then I remember, and then I got the final one. I still had like four, it was like what was it, 12 out of the 25 that I got, so I got just a little bit under half. But I was
Yeah, you
like,
did good.
I am a badass. And then Dahlia comes up and like just cleans house. You know what I mean?
Really, I felt so bad for Steve, for
Steve,
the
yeah,
Monroe
there you
guys.
go.
Poor
Steve, we're
Steve,
sorry,
poor
man.
Steve.
You got the bad hand in that one, dude.
But going back, you guys really did do a good job. Like, you did. It's
Right? And
just
well,
she's extra.
and when you're comparing it to Dahlia, like the rest of us were like, we're still trying to feel the heat, the
Yeah,
emotion, the colors. Dahlia had her windows open. You know what I mean? And
open. They were
and
open.
on the back side of that now, with my windows open, like no wonder she cleaned house. You know what I mean? Like
So
it's a
now
completely
your
different
windows
thing.
are open? Okay,
Yeah,
that's right. Yours are and they weren't then. Okay.
correct. And I even talked about that. I'm like, I'm feeling dark. I wish I could have won. I kept saying brown because I had trained with a brown dark. I never trained with black. It
You
was
kept
black. I
saying
kept saying
dark,
it was
it's
dark. It
dark,
was
it's dark.
dark. But then I said the wrong color. And
Yeah.
I think Amy, what was it?
The
The
host.
host
No,
was
no.
like, "Are we gonna give it
Yeah,
to him?" And Hakeem's like, "No." I'm like, "All right." I didn't get it. I did not get the color.
that's true. That's true.
It's true. So
That's true.
but it was all fun. Like you're in the moment.
So
Like I
fun.
don't care if I get it right or wrong. On the backside of
Yeah.
that, now we have the like 3 foot training interval, like they did for that, right? Like
Yeah.
we train now. We don't just train with, like they had
Mhm.
the
Donuts.
donut board. We basically have the same thing with like the shapes aren't so much important, but like the colors are, right? So we have
Yeah.
like a color board that we use. But that's really more intuitive. When you get into like the live mind sight with your windows open, how do you explain that to somebody? How do you explain getting windows that are in the back of your head reversed and upside down?
No idea.
And so, you know, to kind of get into more of this stuff, like the specific size stuff, and giving tips to people, and trying to bring it, you know, to a more relatable aspect, right? So we go into the Psy Games. Psi Games has posted clips. I posted some clips. Once again, Hakeem, please don't get mad. I posted some clips. You were not supposed to be videotaping the Psi Games.
I may or may not have been.
They have a video that you can purchase from the Psi Games 2025 if you want to see the Psi Games. If you want to get the lectures, you were not supposed to have your phones. But on the slim chance that somebody might have been taking a video, you know, or a couple people might have been taking a video, I've posted a few videos of, you know, what my interactions in the Psi Games, some of the other cool stuff, some of the pictures of the perceptualists. I end up winning Psychokinesis, which was an Iggly wheel, which I now know is a thing. I did not know that an Iggly wheel was anything.
You didn't know what an Iggly wheel was?
No, I really truly did not know what an Iggly wheel is.
God.
I literally had never seen that in my life. And
Sol really wants to show it now. Like
Okay.
he doesn't want to wait anymore.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, yeah. So we do this Iggly wheel. Just give me 1 second. Let me explain what it is, and then you can do it. So we go to Psi Games. We find out there's an Iggly wheel. So an Iggly wheel is a really sensitive bearing on. Let's chill. No. I'm gonna carry the box. So an Iggly wheel is basically a product that's designed specifically for Psi abilities. And mechanically, what it is it's a really sensitive bearing on like a light paper or plastic. I don't know, how would you describe that? It's a bearing on like a paper or plastic wheel that has
It's almost like a paper saw. It's like it looks like a paper saw.
That's a good way to
with
explain it. Yep.
Edges.
maybe spokes. We call them spokes.
Yeah.
Spokes.
So I'll kind of show you guys here if without trying to break the wheel or get it messed up.
Yeah, if you
So-
tip it, does it come off? Okay.
I think it might, but I don't know. I've had mine because on there. I've never taken it off yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll. Oh, you can. I've never done that.
Okay, there you go.
So actually, in that case, would be gentle. So it's a wheel, right? And so the bearing is here. It's basically a point, and you have this really sensitive bearing that's polished inside. And so you have these paper, plastic, kind of saw versions on the outside. So we call them spokes. Anyways, Psi Games come. We find out the night before we're doing an Iggly wheel. None of us, supposedly none of the competitors, and I can verify I didn't. I know Carol Bassey didn't, because we talked about it for a minute afterwards. And so none of us even knew what an Iggly wheel was. And we're sitting there like, how do we even do this? You know what I mean? And we were basically consulting each other because they gave us one Iggly wheel to share as a group just to kind of get familiar with it that night. And we only had like maybe 10 minutes with it.
Yeah.
Before
my God.
was
I'm thinking maybe they gave it to you
work.
to take you back to your hotel room or anything, but no.
No.
One, two,
one for like all the
10-minute
group.
session. That's
10
it.
minutes.
Well, not even a 10-minute session, like a 10-minute session for the whole group.
For the whole group. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All of us had like, all right, whoa, okay. You know, like, I don't know. So we go to the Psi Games, the actual Iggly wheel, and so it was just exposed like this, right? That's how we got it. So in the actual Psi Games, you put your arms into this box. Looks kind of like a painter's box or like a sand blasting box, where you put your arms in, and the Iggly wheel's in there. It's sealed, and there's a glass top that you can look into, right? And so that was their way of controlling the environment for the Iggly wheel to try to reduce any sort of like wind drag, anything like that, right?
Air. Yep.
So the best way that I can describe an Iggly wheel is and what I was doing, and I'll kind of talk about each game. For me, everything kind of has this field, has this feeling, has this 3D projection, has an electromagnetic field, or like some sort of a magnetism, I guess might also be a way of describing it to it. So, and I this is going to be the best way I can describe it. So take it or leave it. This is Ryan's experience. Your hands can hold emotion and energy, and they can pick up on those frequencies or those energies or those magnetic poles. They come through as like heat, pressure, emotion, all these different versions that come into your hands, your palms specifically, right? And so your palms are the majority of the engine. The fingers are more of the direction. Your palms are the engine. Your fingers are more of the steering wheel. And maybe you can still get a little bit of push and pull with them, but that's how I would describe it for me.
Mhm.
Have you ever seen the Iron Man movie?
Yes.
You know where he has like that big
Replacer?
energy replacer
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
That's kind of what it is like.
Kinda like that.
It's like
Okay, cool. That's a good way to put it.
spot in your palm that you can make
Kind of have energy.
energy come out of
Yeah,
it.
energy, right. That's good.
So and so what you're doing is, right, you're trying to get your connection to latch up at that connection. You're trying to match but not synchronize with, but match the frequency of whatever you're trying to get to where then your spokes latch into that and then you can push, pull, you get traction, right?
Love that
And
analogy. Okay.
sometimes it's like trying to pick up a 50-pound Amazon box with your fingernails. So it's very subtle to some
Mhm.
degree,
Okay.
but you can do it, right?
Yep.
And you can grab it and you can push, pull, depending on the energy. And a lot of people will say it's heat, it's all these different things.
Yep.
I, you know, maybe, but at the same time, when we're in the Psy games and our hands are inside the box, you've got complete, wind reduction. My hands are close, but I wasn't doing any sort of real movement. Like I would move my
Mm-mm.
hands, like because it was like I don't know, 10 minutes up there, right? Because
It was
what
a
would they would do
while.
is they would have like a 2 or 3 or 4 minute. I don't know how long it was. Maybe it was 4 because it took a minute to get going. They would have you turn it left. Each contestant had a thing
Each headed good different directions.
turn it
Yeah.
right or go as fast as you can any direction. Now
Yep.
go left. Now go right. And each I
Stop it.
stop it.
Okay,
I
stop it.
think each
Yeah.
one was about 4 minutes, and they ended up doing like 5 rounds of those, right? And then it was your
Yeah.
best overall score. So I ended up getting 30 out of 30. There was a tie for second for
Amazing.
27. Um, Ended up winning Psychokinesis, the one I said in the very beginning I was never going to win and
So
had no idea with.
always the way it is.
But just that energy flow, that channeling of that energy, that same pizzazz or that energy that everybody says
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
palpable kind of came through. Um, you know, I didn't really cheer so much with the other games, but in that one, it was like just felt the need to have everybody cheer, and it
I
just
do remember that. Yeah,
and
did you said
and so good
something.
or bad. I don't know if everybody liked it. I don't know if that was really a Psy Games
Yeah.
thing, but I'm like, cheer, come on, bring it on, give me some love. And Brandy's over there like last lap, giving me my race
Yeah.
lingo to like keep pushing. Like you're on your last one, dude. Last
Aw,
lap, you push.
love
Last
that.
lap, you're going for that finish line and you push through because it's your last lap, right? It's the sprint. And so she's sitting there yelling at me. We're getting all the like
Just keep talking.
we're getting all the people like amped up. My gosh, is it dead? It literally was working 10. Oh,
Oh, there you go.
what is happening? Anyways, dude, this is it right here. What in the heck? So let me just show you this one real quick. So this one's not mechanical or electronic. This was part of the same set. So it's the same thing, just it's just a teacup version, right? So I'm gonna have Axel do this because Axel is really good at this. Let's maybe put it up. You can see it a little bit higher.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do a little shimmy here.
Perfect.
I'm not that. I wouldn't say I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
I'm mid at it.
So we're
Well,
gonna
you're
get
training just like daddy, right?
so we're gonna
Mhm.
get it stopped. So he's getting
Wow.
it to go to the right, our right. Um,
Wow, he's doing really good.
yeah.
There's no glass over it, so it's exposed.
So it
So
is exposed.
what about your breath? Can your breath affect it?
So it's funny you say that because this is
We
exactly how we
usually wear
train.
a mask
Yeah.
to train.
So this is my mask. It
Mhm.
is a monstrous nightmare. My
Perfect.
racing name complete. It's actually one of the Jurassic Park like blue ones.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Great.
This is
You need your own merch.
just
right.
black.
Perfect.
So
Okay, now do it.
Did it stop? Okay.
you gotta like show it so they can see it here.
There.
Hey,
Look at you, Axel, that's awesome.
can you get it to go the other way?
I
He
think I
touched it.
moved.
Show them that you can do it the other way too. Hallelujah.
Do you want me to try to hold it up above a little bit? Is that better?
That's good. Yeah, that's better. Yep. I could see it before, but yeah, this is better.
So
That's
do you
awesome.
want to just try it real quick?
No.
Well, it's no harm in trying, dude. If you can't do it, Luna, come on, dude. My family's just loving on me right now.
I
My
love it.
dog's up in my grill. Here, let's try it.
I love it. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh.
Dude, if you can't do it, it's no big deal.
Just do
Just
your
try.
same
Yeah,
process.
same thing. So
But
the glass, yeah. So if you can get it to go that same direction inside the glass, we'll take it. So remember, hold it a little bit closer. You remember, you're trying to grab the things and then move it. So we'll
I
see if
love
we
this
can
technique.
get anything moving here. So
Yeah.
while he tries to do that, I'm going to let him focus on that. But Brady, go ahead and
Mhm.
put it. We'll leave it where you
Okay.
can see it. So for me, for the psychokinesis, right? For me, it was really easy. And we can take this off because we have it in the class now. You keep doing your thing. No blow on it.
I'm trying
Kill
to
him,
see,
Smalls.
like, my energy will come out.
I love it. It's so great having him do it. Oh my god.
Right? So
Yeah.
we do the Psy Games. We have, we're inside the box. I ended up winning. We do the mind sight. The mind sight was the donuts along
Yep.
with the dude.
it's okay.
So this is where we get all that like
I love it.
you want to try one more time?
Oh,
All
does
right.
it make you
Yeah,
turn
good.
up too nervous?
You're all good. Hey, thank you for doing it, man.
Thank you so much, Axel. Hey,
You
you
did-
did awesome. You did awesome.
What do you
You
say?
got it.
Thank you.
You
Tried my best.
It was spinning fast.
got to go good, man. Good job.
Yep.
Hey, did you tell her you got you got a gold cup 3, which is like a national champion BMX?
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
He's so sweet. Love him. Thank you for having him on.
well,
Yeah.
no problem. So but it's also important to me show too, like,
Oh.
it's not like everything we do here is bangers. Like
Yeah.
we post a lot, but
No.
like as much as we post a banger, man, it took probably 6 attempts to get that banger. And I think that training regiment, that dedication of time, the fact that my whole family's involved. If you're a racer that doesn't give dedication of a championship to your team, to your mechanic, to the people that support you, you would be arrogant. And Cheryl, my wife, even my dad, my kids, we're all involved. Like my family's involved, they're supportive. I got where I did because of them, really. You know what I mean? And their support and allowing me to put the time and dedication. And Axel's been training with us probably since about September. And so he's really good at precog. I've shown him doing the Igley wheel under glass. And so I think he just wanted to play video games. It is the weekend, and so
The focus all week at school.
video games are size stuff. Who knows? Which one's cooler? But long story short, we do all that, and we do the mind sight at the distance. Dahlia ends up knocking it out of the park, going off the stage into the crowd, literally to right by where I was sitting. And the mind sight has really kind of taken off in terms of like being its own thing now.
Yep.
And once again, I had never been exposed to that Psy community to know, like I knew of the Monroe Institute, but really that was the extent of it. Past that, I didn't know about Vision Without Eyes or the RV stuff, the remote viewing, all the different versions of that, and just all these different people in the community that now we do know. They did the remote viewing. I wasn't involved in that. That was really cool. They did they had the target, which was an AI generated program or an AI generated picture that then they put into a program. We could see it, but the perceptualists couldn't. It was just really cool to be a part of that. Once again, I wish I could have done it. I can remote view very well. I posted videos of that as well. They did the dowsing, and dowsing went really well. I think one of my friends, Heidi, did well on that. And I think Sharon maybe. And I mean, there's all these people that we met at the Psy Games, all the different perceptualists, and John and Jeff and Dahlia and just all these other perceptualists, and Keith and Steve and all the other ones. I mean, there's just so many people, and it's hard to name all the people. But just making those connections, doing the booth thing that we talked about, where it's not using psychedelics, but you're getting kind of that psychedelic trance in that machine. And then you're doing everything from the like aura pictures to So like I love Jordan Crowder and his just like philosophy stuff. And so I was super excited to meet him, just I'll straight say it. So we do the Psy Games. We ended up leaving on cloud 9. I knew I won Psychokinesis, but I didn't really know that I had done well in the other ones. Like I knew I did all right, but I knew I didn't win. That's all. That's in my mind. That's all I
Right.
cared. As I knew I didn't win those. I knew I won Psychokinesis. It was real positive. Everyone was real happy. You know, we got to talk. The people that were kind of giving me the cold shoulder with the race jersey were then all of a sudden want to talk to me. And no, because I do think it was a little bit of the Happy Gilmore where I kind of was like, what is this guy?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden
yeah.
I win in 3 events out of the 5, and then everyone's like, dude, you know what I
It
mean?
was a very Happy Gilmore moment. You are so right.
Dude,
The whole
and
thing.
like and just so much gratitude and
Yeah.
generosity from the community. And you know, we go back on Sunday, they do the awards. I Hakeem even said like the last time where I won the Psychokinesis, that was the last one that he gave. He's like #1 for coolest guy in the whole world. And man, those moments are seared, man. Those are in the soul. Those are deep. You know what I mean? And those meant as much as like the motocross championships and
Oh, I bet.
because and like almost to some degree a little bit more because like I'm just exposing all this weirdness about myself. You know what I
That
mean?
you've always held inside or just never accepted or whatever you wanna
You
say,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Just showing other people either, you
And
And
you
know.
know,
showing other
I
people.
cried. I fully cried on stage multiple times that day because it's like you're just putting
Yes,
yourself
you
out
did.
there so much,
Yep.
right? Like I had never shown anybody to such a degree, let alone Danny Sheehan and Colonel
Right.
John Alexander. Again, I still, dude, every part of my head is like, because when we were walking on stage, I just kept looking at Danny Sheehan and his white hair. You know what I mean? Oh my God, he was just in the seat, but like that dude is like watching me do all this crazy stuff, right? Like, so you know, it was this crazy experience.
I thought it was crazy that Tom Campbell was sitting in front of me, like, when
Yes,
during all the award ceremonies, and that was crazy, but when you're competing and you're looking at them from that angle,
right.
yeah.
And you're just seeing
Right.
everybody. And then, you know, we had done, hey, I am all about the people that support me. The night before they had done the Chris Bledsoe watch, right?
Mm.
Out on the
Yeah.
deck of, you know, on Friday night, right? And,
Mhm. Yep.
you know, once again, we had no idea what the Psy Games was going to be. I had no idea what it was going to look like. So we didn't buy the tickets. So I won't say who I was in the group with, but me and my wife, you know, we just tried to just walk in straight up and they found us. So we got asked to leave. But then we,
Yeah.
in the process, we accumulated other people that kind of walked in. And it's cool. Like we didn't want to fight anything. Like we weren't trying to push our luck. Like they're like, oh, you guys, where's your ticket? I'm like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
You know, so we left, whatever. No big deal.
Mhm.
You know, I'm a little bit of a limits pusher, but I'm not trying to get in trouble.
You don't be
Uh,
disrespectful, yeah.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
respectful, exactly.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, you know, we leave. We end up forming like a group of like 30 of us down in that parking lot. And we were
Yeah.
just out there and we were like making jokes and we turned on music. And then like, they're like, yeah, dude, he's the one that won the Psy Games. And like, we were
Mhm.
dancing and doing our thing. And so then
No, this was the night
this was
before.
Friday night.
This was before you
Oh.
competed. So
So
we
the,
were talking to them about how you were gonna be
yeah,
competing.
you're right. And
And they were like kind of starstruck, like, oh my gosh, we're
so
meeting
then,
one
so
of the
then, so then, when we asked the people to cheer in the Psy Games, a lot of that same crew was like, "Yeah," you know what I mean, and everybody else was like, so we had this like we had accumulated this like cheering section from the night before, and it made me feel good, man, because it was like I knew these people from that moment, but I didn't really know them prior, and dude, they're
Right.
in this like pretty professional high end environment, like you know, yeah, you know,
That's so great.
and crowd, you know, Gordon was one of the commentators. So, and I was so happy about that because I love that dude, and I'm, you know, my old friends with him now, and you know, just hearing him talk and talk about the love, man. How when the crowd would say love, it just hit, and it would hit hard
It
every
did.
time people said love. You know what I mean? And
And with
I put in that
the
talk.
phoenix that would light up on stage,
Oh
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that was so crazy
it
when
just
that
you know
energy was
all these
amplified.
signs that verified it all, right?
Mhm.
And that make it so that on the backside of it, you're like, you can't walk away from that and be like, oh, it's not real. You know what I mean? At least not for me. We win the games. The kid of wonder comes up to me after the games, like
Mhm.
on Saturday, gives me this big hug, like legit gave me a hug. Cause I went, you know, I'm a little bit formal and not that it was fine, but I didn't know the kid. Dude's dad's right there.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Right.
oh, dude, I'm so happy. And like, you know, he grabs and he comes in for the hug and like legit gives me this moment and then like he's like, dude, you were the coolest guy and you were such an inspiration. And he gave me these
Oh.
like Kids of Wonder Zenner cards.
And did a whole shout out on
yeah,
his
it gave
YouTube
me this
On his
channel.
whole
YouTube.
like
Oh my
amazing
God.
clip. And it's just those moments where like you realize you are impacting people, right? What you are putting out there is making a difference. And you know, the one thing I want people to take away from all my story is like you got to lead with love, take away that judgment, know that you are just as full of anything. Anybody that wants to project their judgment onto you can do that. So why project your judgment onto them? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
absolutely.
Why
Yep.
why not
I
lead
love
with the
that.
heart? Why not be this positive impact to the people in your life compared to something else, right?
Right.
And I always say this, and I have to say this: it's your heart matches your words, matches your actions. That's the triad that will set things in place and get things. It'll help you manifest. It'll help synchronicities, all these other things that sound kind of woo woo, but the reality is your goal setting, you're taking the action, right, and you're
Yes.
dedicating the time. You're getting to dedicating the time and energy and intention, right?
And
And
intention. Yep.
things where you plant your seeds is where your garden's going to grow, right? And
Yep.
um, and as much as it's all this kind of woo woo, I hate using that word, but to people when you say all this stuff, it sounds woo woo or it sounds
It
crazy or it
does.
sounds
But there are no other words. Like, yeah.
rocker, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to the people that have tried this, that can experience it, or it's like the folks that have experienced the orbs or spirits or
Mhm.
ghosts, you know what I mean? Until you have that moment, and I'm going to let my wife talk about this because
Mhm.
I've had many of these, but she had one, and it was a life changing moment. Is it cool about the
Kind of
shrimp?
like a spiritual awakening, I guess,
So,
for me.
Yep.
so let me just put this in context.
Mhm.
I don't let people get away with stuff, and
Mhm.
I'm sure you've seen over the last 24 hours. I've done some other podcasts. I had
Mhm.
some haters.
Oh, I
I'm
did
a
see something,
response
yeah.
guy. I'm not a person that's like gonna just like if I like don't get me wrong, I'm also not arrogant to think that if I have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm not gonna say anything. But
Right, yeah.
especially when you're aiming stuff at me and I do know what I'm talking about, like I'm gonna respond. So,
Yep.
people were saying my cards were all marked or that my holes had or my mask had holes
Love
or
the
this,
holes
that, or
in
the
that,
other,
yeah.
all these other things. So I went out on tape, bought new cards, did a whole new thing, all on
Okay.
camera, brand new mask, like showed that like as much as it could be controlled, it was controlled. And I did another one with the Iggly wheels last night. We're like, I'm moving it completely away from it, not touching it. This is all mine. I then show
Mhm.
I can move it with my hands. Let me show you how fast I can move it with my hands under glass.
Mhm.
I've done ones where it's smoke, so you can see the air currents. So there's no air current. Like you can see the smoke rising straight up, and my hands are making this thing go crazy under
Mhm.
glass. And
Just everything
I,
transparent
I've done
to show the
transparency,
process.
transparency from the start, transparency
Mhm.
from when we started training in April, transparency to today, and showing folks that like this is achievable. It's the training, it's the dedication to it, the want, the drive, man. If there's
Yep.
anything in my life I showed, I am Captain Drive. Give me
I
a
love
goal and I'll go get it. It may take me a minute, but
Mhm.
I'll get it.
Like it's
And
been proven, yeah.
and so kind of along with the spirituality part, I want to let Brandy talk, but
Mhm.
the lead up is right. I'm as much as I'm all these things, I'm this father and this artist and this Psy guy. I'm still a therapist. I'm still a
Mhm.
social worker. And I hate to see people not doing their full potential. So and I hate to see people who are getting their light dimmed by others is what I'll say. And
Yes.
so when I see people, and I'm really good at pointing it out in a very nice, loving way. When I see people having moments where maybe they aren't standing up for themselves, that's exactly why I responded with all those videos. Is like, hey, well, even if you still disagree, we can agree to disagree. But I'm going to show you from my end. I'm trying to take away all those things that you're saying, trying to give
Mhm.
you as much of a straightforward like, here it is, and making it factual, right? And so along with that on the spiritual side, I'm gonna let Brandy take over. I want to get into the side demonstrations real quick. I gotta dance, I gotta listen to music, but I want to tell you about what we call the shrimp moments. And like when you talk about spirituality and the awakenings, my awakening, my shrimp moment was with my mom, and then on the backside of seeing all the death and seeing what I was putting out into the universe and seeing what was coming back. If I focused on the negativity, world was giving me back negativity. If I focused on the positive and the gratitude, life completely changed.
Yeah.
Because I was bringing more of that in, and I try to, as much as I try to do all this coaching and all this stuff, I can't let people who I think have more potential. I can't let them not have have that latent
Mhm.
potential without trying to bring it out in them. So I'm gonna let Brandy talk for just 1 second.
So what he's
Much.
referring to, kind of
Oh,
my spiritual awakening. Well, I've had like two of them. So
okay.
before I became a teacher in my undergrad, I worked at the movie theater. I worked at AMC, and actually worked in the concession stand. And I had this guy come up to me. So he came up, but he looked different than everybody else, and kind of had this like yellowish glow around him. And he came up and he said, "Well, I've been watching you as I've been standing in line, and I feel like I can trust you." And I was like, "Okay, well, this is weird because this guy's just coming up to order something at the concession stand." So he's like, "I have this $100 bill and I want to pay it forward. And I want you to use this to pay for the rest of the people's orders until it runs out." And I'm like, "Okay." So I take the $100 bill and kind of put it under my till, literally look down for one moment, look back up, and he's gone. It's a big open lobby. There's
Got chills.
theaters to the right, there's theaters to the left. There's no corner to hide or anything like that. And he's just gone. And I'm like, "What in the world?" So I use this and I tell Ryan about this, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Wow, yeah, that's pretty cool." So that was kind of my first awakening, like, okay, like I am giving something off if this guy is just telling me about my energy and how he feels like he can trust me. He's standing in line.
Just want Luna. Hi, Luna.
Honey. Oh my god.
And then the second one, I guess, was, so we have family dinners all the time
Mhm.
because we live very near to my parents. And
Mhm.
so
Love dog, has hearts.
so we were just at a family dinner, and Ryan was having a pretty in-depth emotional conversation with one of my family members. And, it wasn't really heated, but it was emotionally charged.
Yeah.
And another family member came in, and this is why we call it the shrimp moment, because we were having coconut shrimp, came and just kind of like shut off this situation. It was like, "Here's the shrimp, here's the shrimp. Anybody want to try the shrimp?" And that emotional moment was lost. And so that was a time when Ryan was teaching me how you can read other people's intentions. So we've
Oh,
never really gotten deep emotionally in my family. And that was a moment that he pointed out to me. And it's kind of one of those moments where you can't unsee it. And so
no.
now every time something like that comes up, just because it's
Wow.
our like inside joke,
Mhm.
he's just like, "It's another shrimp moment."
Great moment.
Oh
I
my
love
gosh,
that.
you are exactly right.
Well,
Wow.
it's not just Brandy shrimp moment. We call them shrimp moments, but we talk about it with our kids. We talk about where it's like that moment of epiphany, right? We're
Yes.
like we're like you think the world's one way, and then you have this epiphany moment, and you're like, oh my gosh,
And
that's
it
actually
shifts.
what's happening. You know what I mean? And I guess the reason I wanted Brandy to say all that, and because that was powerful for her, like it's changed her
Mhm.
life. She's a different person because then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I really was kind of being shut down emotionally. And like there was the example right there. That's why
Right
like I
there.
sometimes have hard emotions and I don't know how to express myself. Whereas I am Captain Expression.
'Cause
It's
it makes you more aware of it.
like
Yeah.
you get to help people and it's not just your family, it's everyone, right? And it's again,
Everyone.
man, it's just that positive love. It's spirituality and psi, and it's all connected because it's all human based. It's all emotion, it's all consciousness. It's this version, right? And I guess within all that,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna run through my stuff like real quick. I showed you my helmet. That's
Yeah.
just my sensory
Love that.
deprivation. I just want to show a couple of things. So
Mhm.
one of the last things I did after the Psy Games was the Psychokinesis meet and greet. And so they had a person teaching how to do spoon and fork bending, and I did it with Croft. You know what I mean? Like for all intents and purposes, the real military Ghostbuster. If there was ever a dude, that's the dude, right? And so I'm doing this psychokinesis bending with him, and actually these are the ones we did. Huh? This is like what this is special.
So crazy. I have not tried this yet. I've
I
tried a
tried
couple.
it and I was actually able to do
So
it.
So this is
Good.
my little memory
Oh,
bomb.
look at that. So awesome.
So this was Brandy's thing. This was my perceptualist name tag.
Uh-huh.
This was one of the books. I have a few of these. But these were Claire and Steve. So we had to name them. So Claire and Steve, Steve at Psy Games, this is not named after you. This is just Steve. But the other one's
Oh,
Claire
God.
for clairvoyance or whatever. Just one of the Claires. So
Oh, I
Claire and
love
Steve.
that.
But I'm sitting there and this person's teaching us how to bend forks. And once again, my
Mhm.
entire exposure to fork bending was just like hearing about it in like the mental health setting of like, oh, these
Yeah.
scientists or these psychics can bend forks and stuff. I'm like, I've never
Cool.
tried it, never put anything into it. I had just won psychokinesis. So like, because I kind of got a nudge. Hey man, you need to go over there. You just won that event, so go show up.
Oh,
You know what
okay,
I
I
mean?
see. Yeah.
So so I go in there and I literally sit right next to Croft. I have a picture with him. I bend Claire and Steve with him. He's bending them. You know what I mean? And you bend a fork for the first time, and it's not like people like I don't know because you can magic this stuff like where you don't really do it right, or you can
Right.
do it for real and it looks completely different. Like a I just want to show you guys this real quick. So a
Yeah, go
bent
for it.
power fork, someone that just where's my other part?
I don't know where your other piece is.
So if you just try to bend a fork, it breaks. And you get
Oh,
one of
okay.
these
Okay.
images where like you can see the metal kind of breaking. So if you were to
Mhm.
sit there and like, I'm gonna bend it,
Uh-huh.
doesn't work, right? And so the same way you can feel that heat, that energy, the psychokinesis of moving the energy in the igloo wheel under glass, you can
Uh-huh.
transfer that heat, that energy through your hands and palms into different, I mean, metals. I mean, so
Object,
I
yeah.
think a spoon is really just, or a fork is really just a catalyst because it's metal and it absorbs heat. There's a thing called latent
Right.
heat transfer, which if you hold something like or a blanket is a latent heat transfer, right?
Mhm.
It keeps you warm because it's keeping your warmth in.
Okay,
So a
gotcha.
lot of
Right.
times spoons will do a good job of like retaining the heat, but when you use the energy, it makes it like moldable, if that makes sense. So the
Yeah.
same way that like when you put your spoon into a dishwasher, it gets crazy hot, but it never
Mhm. Right.
melts, right?
Mhm.
When you do it with the energy, it'll get crazy hot to the touch, but then it melts. It
Then you
molds
can
the
move
skin
it.
like putty. So this was just a spoon we did just recently because there are like magicians. Because I'm not a magician
Right.
that
No.
can like make it look certain ways, or they do. No, I do it on camera, and so like I'll just show you guys. Like you just kind of roll it. It's like a silly putty. Like when it gets kind of into a point of like
This was the one I
Wow.
did, right?
no,
Holy
this is
cow. This was the one I did.
so this was
When
Brandy's.
he kinda taught me. It's
Oh,
So
almost like a
wow.
art.
and so
It
when I
is like
trained
an
Brandy,
art.
this was the one I did that same day. So it's not like I just want to show people that because it's not because
Yeah.
once again I'm not a magician and I'm not trying to fake this for anybody. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody but me to make sure that when I go to Psy Games 2026, I can show again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm the haters are one thing, and to any of the folks
Yeah.
that are out in the Psy community, you can choose to do three things when you get haters. My suggestion is just know, man, if people don't experience it themselves, they're gonna hate on it. The same way until Brandy had her shrimp moment, she just didn't see it. You know what I mean? And you can't hate or blame a person for that because in their world, that's just where they're at. They haven't had that epiphany moment, that experience that brings them into like, oh, okay, well, what do you do? You know what I mean? And my whole family, I mean, from orbs being called out on command to the Vegas winnings and Steel Panther and Springs and just all this spiritual stuff. Like my family's like, yeah, we're gonna listen to him because he knows what's going on. Like
Trust the
we'll
kid.
follow his lead. But like for a person that isn't exposed to all that, the same way that a person that goes into a nursing home and doesn't know what that's like, seeing a folks with advanced dementia is
Yeah.
crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not it's powerful because they've never seen that in like a setting where it's condensed.
Exactly.
But to me, that's like, that's just one more thing. Let's go get done what we need to
That
get
you're
done,
exposed to. Right.
and I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's the color palette, right? The more experiences you get, the more colors you have to paint with, and I'm
That's
once again, it's
perfect.
not
Yeah.
that a person can't make a great drawing with the Crayola 12, but man, you can get a lot more in depth with the Crayola 64. Do you know what I mean? Or if you get into a dude that can, Bob Ross, you know, metallic acrylic, and do all the crazy colors, in
Mhm.
between, you get a whole different picture than you did with the
Yeah.
Crayola 12. How would you describe feeling the colors, seeing in the back of your head? You know what I mean? And so,
Chills.
with all that, I showed the
Yep.
Iggyville, I showed what I do for the mine site, and then we do it like in the 3-foot increments. We're up to about
Mhm.
20 feet.
Good.
Motorcycle
Great.
blindfolded with a helmet bag, so 2 layers of vision blocking. Jumped at about 45 feet with my FMX ramp, so it wasn't like a tabletop. It was like a full, like,
Wait, you did that you jumped the bike with all of that on?
Yes.
yeah,
I
Yes.
think I may have saw the video. Oh
yeah.
my god.
Jumped my motorcycle, my 140. So it wasn't my my big racing 450. So if I did mess up, I didn't want to have my main race
No,
bike get
that would
destroyed.
just be dumb.
But
Right.
but I did on a 140, which is like a medium sizer and like the largest pit bike you can do. And I did it about 45 feet with a straight, FMX ramp. We've played checkers. We try to show people too that like this stuff's exotic, right? For the first time, if
Yeah.
you're not seeing it, right? But you can do all the training yourself. You don't have to have. Eldon Baker was a motocross trainer who
Mhm.
trained 10 years of champions. And you
Mhm.
would pay a lot to be under Eldon Baker's, care or his team. You know what I mean?
Right,
And,
right, right.
and not to say that that's not something. But for all of us who aren't that elite, 1%, 3 to 5 grand for a shorter time period, that is an entire family vacation for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's that's just a lot of other things than my personal side training. And not to say that other
Right.
people can't do that, and I encourage them to, but for me, that's just not the way it works. So once again, that what's been most important to me is showing people what they can do. So I showed my boxes for all that. Let me just show a couple more things and we'll do it. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
just
so
trying to
cool.
show folks to dedicate. These are just the,
Yeah.
the, the medals that we won. I just want to show them
That's
real
so
quick.
great.
Uh,
Oh, it's so awesome.
but let me just show you a couple more things here. So, I encourage everybody to get just a plain, like a regular deck of cards.
Mhm.
We have a card shuffler just to make it legit. So when we do it, people don't think we're trying to magic shuffling or something. I don't know. So I have the side cards. You can get these. This is just a bicycle deck, like the name brand bicycle. But they make them. They're the special ESP cards. They're the Zener cards. Um, cool thing about these is like maybe 15 of them have colors and
Oh,
are double sided. And then
okay.
you can get the Zener cards. Oh, yeah, spread them apart. You can get the Zener cards, and I think there's
Mhm.
52 of them. So you just, you kind of get a little bit of color training with these, but this is mostly just the Zener card training. Um, I had a regular set of bicycle cards that I used until yesterday when I got amplified and went out and bought a brand new set of cards just to prove to everybody that my cards are not marked. So now we have a brand new set of Stranger Things cards that we'll be using. I still
Mm.
have a regular deck of cards. Once again, uh, just a regular bicycle set of cards. You know what I mean? I remember because I was meditating. I had that helmet on.
Mhm.
I was letting those vibes and those colors just take over, right? And I remember just thinking because the gate program stuff was always there, but I've never really had any place to talk about it. I was meditating, had that helmet on, kind of had this like I was just thinking about the gate and just remembering the drink and remembering the Zener cards, remembering the dude's face with the hair and just
Yeah.
remembering all these things. And dude, this $2 bill, you have no idea. That blows my mind that my son had that, and it kind of made me teary eyed because anyways. Uh, I had this meditation moment and I was a little bit chunkier in like late elementary into middle school. And
Mhm.
I remember them incentivizing me with a warhead. And so
Mhm.
when I do the Zener cards, and it's literally been since day one, the moment that my window's open, when I do the Zener cards, when I get the water sign, like just looking at it doesn't do anything to me. But
Okay.
like when I'm in the zone, I got the mask
Yeah.
on, I'm trying to pick
Yeah.
it out. It's almost like the universe gives me a fail safe because even if because there's been multiple times where like I'm not gonna guess water, but the water will give me a sour jaw. And so I remember in one of the gate tests when they were incentivizing me to do it, they gave me a warhead and it gave me a sour jaw. And
Wow.
I don't know how, like I'm not gonna pretend like I remember the exact
Yeah.
connection, but I remember like it just came to me. It was this green warhead. And the green warhead gave me this and it connected with this. So like whenever I'm in the zone trying to do my mind sight, the water will give me a sour jaw. Like,
Wow.
it's the weirdest. When we've seen some of these orbs, they happen at 11:11, and when when they have these animal experiences, you know what I mean? And I guess what I'm just trying to say to people is it's okay to discount me. You don't you're not living my experience. And I totally get, if you have other beliefs and you have other things that have put you where you are in your life, right? But for me, this stuff is real and it's heavy all the
Mhm.
time. And it's hard to deny, especially when like I've now had a lifetime of it, but I've had like this really documented, like, I guess now we're looking at like over 6 months of version of like your trainings look like this. You've had these experiences since then. Like how can you deny it? You know what I mean? And so let me just show like two more things. I'm gonna do it right now. So on the show, we have giant dice. We do games with giant dice. We have mindfold mass. So
Mhm.
mindfold is what they use in the Psy games. I now have two, but it's also going to help because I think now me and my wife can train together, or me and my son, we can
Mhm.
do more than just one person. I have adhesive patches, and I have want to show two more things. So with mindsight, once again, everybody loves to doubt. So I love to prove them wrong. So the other day I did one. It was a black sheet in front of one of my other masks. I have a mask that
Mhm.
has headphones. It's like my main training mask. It's what I use to
Okay.
get into the Psy games. I put a blocker on the front. People said
Mhm.
that this was like a reflective thing. It's literally just a piece of tape, guys. It was a piece of tape on my mask just to once again put one more block so people can't think that I'm trying to mess
Yep.
it up. We also use an aluminum. So this is one of the shields that they used for COVID back in the day. So I used that and I covered it with tinfoil just to give it one more, instead of it being
Mhm.
transparent.
Perfect.
Tinfoil, you can't see through tinfoil, both sides. So we use that. Um, I've been able
Mhm.
to read with the mind sight. This is that mask, by the way. This is that mask that I use. I actually stuck the tape to the thing that pushes the power for the headphones. So when
Oh,
everybody
okay.
saw it, that's exactly what it was taped to. And, you know, anyways, whatever. Haters gonna hate. But we also have been doing sight words with index cards. Um, you know what I mean? I
Perfect.
guess that would be it. And Ryan and just shapes and Anne and jab. You know what I mean? So I wish because Dahlia. Once again, Dahlia is kind of the main mind site. Like
Mhm.
if you're, well, I don't want to say she's a guru, but she's the main one, right? Like she's the standard. So
Yeah.
I straight honestly, I watched some of her videos even prior to Side Games where she was
Mhm.
doing the demonstrations. She was reading at Contact in the Desert. And once again, I was
Right.
nowhere near that when we went to the Side Games. But now that
Mhm.
we're kind of in that zone, I'm not reading. Like I definitely cannot read like fine print like she was. But
Okay. All right.
give me a giant it, and I can get a giant it. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
I'll take that. I
Um,
mean, I would take that. Yeah, it's awesome.
so, and then the last little things that we use just to show kind of more of what's going on, we use EMF detectors. I have a few different
Oh.
versions of those. Once again, I've shown videos, especially when I do like my Russian doll, where I think there's a better word for that, but where we stack things on top. So like
Yep.
I'll do an igloo wheel, then glass, and another igloo wheel, then
Yep.
another glass. And I'll put the EMF in there just to kind of show too what's happening through it, just to kind of show folks as much as I can. Like I want to be the dude that takes the woo woo out of the psychic, or
Yep.
helps to show folks that like, I'm sure there's always going to be doubters, but I'm trying to reduce the amount of doubting they can do. You know what I
I
mean?
completely
And
agree.
so
And that
with
we're
the
all
mindset,
capable of this. We're all capable of this. But
exactly,
if you're gonna
exactly.
doubt, then
And
it's not gonna happen, but we all are.
it's not that I don't follow other trainers on social
Mhm.
media. Vision Without Eyes will have folks go outside
Mhm.
and do the mind sight, and then they get the
Really
color kind
fun.
of reflecting onto them. And that's one way of doing it. I think it totally works. Like totally
Mhm.
works with colors. For me, what that looks like is you just get blinded. If I open my, because we had to shut our windows. If I open
Yeah.
my windows and you would be trying to look at me, you would get more of a silhouette of me instead of this full definition version of me, right? Like I
Okay.
can even show you guys, but if you put us back to the window, I mean, just kind of look at my hand. Well,
Yeah,
not
right.
even there.
That makes total sense.
You know what I'm saying? So when you put
Yeah.
more defined things in like a light, it's hard to see because you just kind of get the silhouette of the light. So
I
I
see.
actually train in the dark. Let me kind of take that off so we don't get that. But
Do you really?
I actually train in the dark. So I'm sure everybody's seen my videos. I actually turn off all the lights in the shop. I run these like LED colors so that you can still see in the room, but the room's mostly dark. And what then happens is, at least initially, then we would put, I have these, I'm a little bit eccentric. So,
I love
a little bit of craziness is always good for Ryan. So, for a minute,
the
I was
crazy.
using these light up gloves that would there we go. So I could be in the dark and then Brandy would, I'd have the mask on, I'd have all the stuff on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Brandy would be able to hold it and I could, one way, shape, or form, be able to kind of use my there we go. Kind of be able to use my
Cool.
hands and not only sense it, but I could also kind of light it up. And so once again, I'm
I
not
like that.
doubting the vision without eyes method. And I think that works 100%. Like he's obviously got decades of showing it works. But for me specifically, put me in a black room. And when you light it up, it's the only thing that lights up, right? So not only am it's kind of singling itself out and making it easier for me to see compared to kind of getting this overall light and then trying to
Yeah.
pick out things in between, if that makes sense.
Yes. Total sense. Total sense.
So,
And the awesome thing about all of this is too, even with those trainers, is I'm picking up on, because I just also interviewed Alex, who's Dahlia's partner for Extraordinaries, that all of this, even them, it's all a learning journey for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do and push the boundaries. So
Exactly.
you're doing what everyone else is
freestyle
doing.
motocross, man. It's freestyle motocross. Who can one up? And
Absolutely.
you don't want the other people to do it, but okay, well, you got that. I can do this. You know what I mean? And
Love it.
so,
Love it.
and it's all supportive, right? Like none of us are. I don't think any of us wish anything negative. We just,
Nope.
it's the same thing with
It's
like
so
a
exciting.
competition, man. There's now a competition element to this. So I think we all like to do
Yeah.
it. You know
Yeah.
what
I
I
guess
mean?
so. Yeah.
So my tip to folks is like there's the sunlight way,
Mhm.
and there's the
But
11
it's not
void
the
way.
only way.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And once again, it's not like I'm in the void and there's water and all that, but what's happening is you are in the dark. When I put on the mask, it's like getting the psychic zone. It's putting on my boots and my chest protector before I race, or putting on your
Yeah.
jersey right before you go out to a competition game. It's that mode of like, okay, well now we're centered, we're ready to focus, and we're ready to do this,
Mhm.
right? And I get like, so when I first kind of get into the zone, in the mask, I get this
Mhm.
pool. I shouldn't say it's a pool. There's nothing in the mask. It's my mind.
Mhm.
In
Right.
my mind's eye, I get this like bioluminescent waving of like purples and turquoises and
Mhm.
greens.
Yes.
And I think, you can kind of get it if you close your eyes and kind of rub
Mhm.
your eyes shut, you kind of get that same, but imagine more condensed and more available, if that makes sense. And
No, I like
then
that. Yeah.
so then what happens is I once that kind of forms, I'm like, all right, we're in the zone, it's happening.
Mhm.
I get these 2 points of light, and sometimes there's more, sometimes there's many points of light, but
Okay.
consistently
Mhm.
there's been two. I call them my headlights. And they kind of are kind of what you described with like an aura. Where like, or like if you look into like a foggy windshield, where you have the
Mhm.
two main hyper condensed, saturated points that kind of
Mhm.
fade out into nothing eventually, right? And so what happens is I have to do this weird, man, this is the worst part. Because at the side games, I didn't have to do this weird jaw thing because I was doing it intuitively. I was feeling
Yeah.
it with my hands. To get my mind sight to open, I do this jaw thing. And so when that same kind of sour jaw flexing, for whatever reason,
Interesting.
opens up the channels in my mind, or just makes me look goofy to remind me that this isn't supposed to be taken like hard.
I've heard Rob Freeman, it's in some video, he was talking with maybe Wendy Gallant and a couple other people about, and they were just talking about things that they could do, and one of them was moving their face around in
Yeah.
making different faces. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so I make this weird jaw, and it was really bad at first, and it was ridiculous. And thank goodness we've been able to get out of that point, and now we're into this like kind of
Alright, so it's
these
not as obvious.
not as obvious. 'Cause before, man, up front it was like, oh my goodness, I cannot go to side games in front of all these people, like, and it was giving me the worst jaw pressure too. Like I couldn't do it for a long time because I was hurting my jaw after a while.
I bet.
And once again, dude, I'm an open book, so people do make faces, dance around.
Do
Well, don't
Absolutely.
take it
Yep.
too seriously, because when you take it the least seriously is when you make the 5 bounce off the wall beer pong shot, or you make the Happy
True.
Gilmore, just tap it in and it bounces off 100 things and you're in the hole. You know what I mean? And
So
it's
true.
it's just
Yeah.
it's those moments where you're least expecting it to happen. When my mind sight opened, I was literally dancing to MC Hammer, and we were, I was just trying to intuitively guess what the Zinner card was going to be next. I had that, there's 52 cards. I was just trying to guess. We were maybe at like 40% accuracy at that point. Then all of a sudden it was like, hold on, there was a light and my heart just stopped. You know what I mean? And the light was back here. And I didn't know that. So in my real time life, it was right here. It was like to the left of the center.
Mhm.
But the what I was seeing in my head was to the back and to the right. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I just stopped. I'm like, Cheryl, just hand me a card, any card. Just give me something different right now. And like, oh my God, it's the right card. And then I got I did she did it, and I did like 52 in a row. And it was like this moment of like, there it is. You know what I mean? And then
My
it didn't,
window.
and it didn't, and then it didn't come back for like 2 weeks. So then I'm like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, what happened? What'd I do? You know what I mean? And like, or why did I do? And like, I started eating healthier and clean,
All the things, right?
and it didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
And and so 2 weeks go by. I'm still just I'm trying to get it back, and all of a sudden it just hits again. And I'm like, okay,
Really?
Cheryl, we are not moving. Just don't let me move. Don't let me breathe. Just the same exact thing. Just hand me other cards. And then it came back, and then kind of from that point forward, I've been able to kind of hone in. Okay, well, if I make the silly face, that
Mhm.
increases the likelihood of it happening. Well, if I do this
Okay.
full jaw opening, it like opens up the window fully, but then it kaleidoscopes. And I've now
Okay.
gotten the kaleidoscope to kind of stop kaleidoscoping, or at least as fast, because it was making me real dizzy at first. And
When you say kaleidoscope, is it like the where your window just moves and just disappears or just moves around?
mm,
Or is
like
the actual window kaleidoscoping around?
yes, like
Okay.
like fly vision with 30 versions of what you're looking at, and then all of a sudden, and not even, so not like evenly spaced, but you're getting just kind of like this blurry version of what's
Oh,
happening, and then
wow.
all of a sudden you'll get this moment where like everything matches up. You're like, oh, it's 4.
Okay.
And then you're
Okay.
like kind of goes back, and you're back into this like, or like if you're
Kind of like when you did that tape, the vibration table
Mhm. Yeah.
outside where they put the warm cover on and you lay down. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that. He describes it where you're like
or
seeing all the
mandalas,
mandalas
All
and stuff,
over.
and
like
then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it just
or a
Yeah.
focuses.
mosaic that all of a sudden comes in and then it goes away, or like pixelation
Okay.
that
Yeah.
is crazy. Then all of a sudden it makes a shape, and you're like, oh, that's what it is. And then it
And
kind
then
of
it
goes away.
disappears
Well,
again.
hopefully it
Interesting.
doesn't
Okay.
take you too long to get it to go back,
Yeah.
and uh
So
and
I think let's do it.
yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm a good rambler. I'm gonna put on eye patches.
Okay.
We'll do the mask.
All right. Brian's putting in his eye patches. Are they uncomfortable?
Dude, they suck. They're
Okay.
and I don't know. If people think that this part isn't real, like I don't know what else you're gonna do. Because man,
Oh,
these patches are like legit medical patches. So there's like a solid part that you have to try to like line up, and then there's like maybe a half inch adhesive. So no matter what, you're stuck in there. Like it's catching somewhere. So we're all sealed in.
okay. Yep.
It's on my head. It's up. It's on, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So all covered up. We're good. We're good. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
So am I doing it for you? Or are you Brandy gonna do it? Or
Yeah, you can do it.
cool. Okay. I'll start with these centers and I'm not gonna look. I'll actually put them behind my back. All right. Ready? There you go, Ryan.
It's coming in like hot, like the sun. I'm getting like galactic stars. It's a star. It's yellow.
Bingo. Meet. Shuffle again behind my back. There we go.
So this one's always hard because I get this confused. So what I'm seeing in my mind, once again, you can see I'm completely shut. What I'm getting in my mind is right angles. So right
Okay.
angles to me mean that it's either a square, it could be the star, or it's a plus. This one's coming in hard right angles. I'm going to say it's a plus.
Bingo.
I got the power.
There you go.
Uh, it's hot. It's love. It's passion. It's bubbles. It's red. It's a red circle.
Bingo. 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 I have some objects too. I don't know if you're up for them.
Yeah, I want to prove, man. I want to show. I want to do it. So
All right, I have something silly. You ready? Oh,
Mhm.
wait. You might not know who that person is. Crap, maybe not. I will do all right, this is an object here.
I'm getting like ADLs. ADLs are like daily living. Why is my travel bag coming through? My travel bag for racing. Is it like a toothbrush?
Very close.
Like
Comb. It was a comb.
comb. Yeah,
Yep, you did it.
toothbrush.
All right, here. This is so silly. I don't know if you're gonna know who this is.
It's a face. I see a face. You said a person. It's like a cutout face like you would get out of a basketball game.
Yep. Can't tell who it is.
I can't tell who it is. I
Okay.
just face.
It was
Do you-
Stanley Roper from Three's Company.
Oh. Do you want to do like maybe one more Zener and then me and
Yep.
Brittany might do a little.
Yep, I'll do one more Zener and then it's you guys.
I'm
All
not.
right, ready?
It's hot again. It's for sure hot. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot. It's red. For sure red. It's like dichotomy to me because it's red, but it's also coming in as bubbles. So I'm gonna say a red circle.
You got it. Yep, I just happened to pull that one again.
Dude.
All right, cool.
So
So I've got the deck of cards, so I'm just gonna split it in the shuffler.
Mhm.
Oops, one fell out.
I gotta stand up. Am I still on camera?
Yes.
Yeah. I can see you.
Okay. So I've
So
got
at the Psy
cards.
Games, one of the things I asked Akeem is how much room do we have to move on stage?
He's gonna try to tell you the exact card, red or black, but also the exact card.
Tell me when it's facing my direction.
It's facing your direction now.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there's my window. Okay, hold on. I found my window. It's a 3 of clubs.
Okay.
It's love. It's low. Maybe a 2. 1 or 2. It's not an ace. It's a 2 hearts. Hearts again. Low. 3 or 4 or 5. 4. Hearts 4. Red.
No.
Red's coming through again. This one feels expensive. Diamonds. Red diamonds. 4, 5, 6. Middle of the road diamonds. Red. I'm going to say like a 4. Maybe a 3. 4 diamonds.
Oh my gosh.
Make sure I get some sort of a fun one.
Actually needs to be one.
Black for sure. It's switching in those intuitive. So let me just try and talk through this. So that pool of like the vibrant colors sends these like waves of like foosh, 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 foosh at me. And the waves hit like a background. And that background gives me like a shape or an intuition of something, like a shape or an emotion or a color. And it comes through as black for sure right now. And I'm maybe like 4 of something, 4 of clubs. Hearts for sure. High heart. It's just coming through as a high heart. I can't tell you more than that. Maybe a 6 or a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
Not a 10. Not a double digit. It's another heart. High heart. I'm gonna say like a 7, 8, or 9 heart for sure. Red.
Okay.
Red hot. Three of clubs, 5 of clubs, 3 of clubs.
Okay.
One or 2 or ace, low diamonds. 3 diamonds. High heart, like an 8 or a 9, maybe a 9 of hearts. We haven't had a single face card yet. I can like feel it, but we haven't had a single one, right?
No.
Diamonds, high, middle of the road, 7, 8, or 9, maybe a 6.
Okay. Oh my God.
Diamonds again, low, like 2 or 3. This music's kind of not exactly what.
Not.
I was going to say, this
7,
isn't right without music on.
Alexa, next. Give me a fun one. Find me something fun that's gonna be unique because I feel like diamond stuff. This one's different. You gave me one. This one is ace. Maybe the club's aces says welcome to Hawkins.
Yep.
How did you know this? Disney.
Another spades or diamonds. It's just black. I'm just getting black hard 6. I can't tell the suit.
Okay.
Because I don't want to know. I think we're going to go through all of them, right?
No.
Clubs low. Clubs low is what's hidden.
Okay.
Black. This is going to be Star Court. Star Court ace. Diamonds.
Yep.
I looked at these cards last night. I do know that they have shapes on them now. I will say that. I'm just trying to tell you if I can see the more. It's my guy. It's Dustin. It's an ace of Dustin. I don't know what it is. It's an ace of Dustin. Dustin and his hat are coming through.
Yep.
So have we done enough? Can I maybe get?
Yeah.
Maybe just help me find like a Vecna. Give me one of those guys. Give me a Vecna.
Oh yeah, I need this deck. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We just
Well,
got him
here.
at King Supers. Honestly.
Well, just let me.
Oh, really?
We'll just end it. Oh.
Okay. You're done.
So let me show them. So
Mhm.
haven't touched it. Please put me wherever I need to be because I want. This is the most important
Scoot
part.
up just a little bit more.
Where am I?
Yeah.
Okay, there.
Yep.
On camera.
Yep.
Yep, you're good.
I don't have anything on my nose. So, and then I'm going to take the things off. Oh my God, we got stuck on the thing. So I just want to show everybody once again, just put me right up in there. I don't want anybody to think any part of this is like not sealed. Brandy, can you verify?
Yep.
So I'm going to, here, you peel them off because I don't want people to think I'm doing some sort of a trick. Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
I've been wanting to order those, but I think there's a reason why I haven't been
I
wanting
know.
to.
I'm like, I haven't tried them yet.
Oh, okay.
That was awesome, Ryan.
So,
I don't know where your sunglasses are. It's really, really bright when he comes out.
well, and so the other thing I'll say too is it kind of jacks up my vision. How do you describe to people? So it like coming out, right? So like, you're in black for an extended period of time. There's no color, so your eyes are going to dilate. You're already kind of having this light sensitivity back, right? But so I try not to come out. I came out really quick that time. It's kind of like the decompression chamber when you come out of like diving.
Yeah.
I probably should have taken that off a little bit slower just because.
You typically do it slower. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. It doesn't hurt or anything. It just what happens is like my vision is just my left eye specifically gets super blurry. I'm not real sure why, but like right now, there's like nothing coming in on that left eye. But,
Really?
Like I mean, or just like super blurry. Like I have like the biggest eye fuzz in the world or something.
Really?
But then but like to explain on the other side, like I talked about that bioluminescence, and so that bioluminescent pool sends up these color waves in addition to trying to see through the like little tiny pinholes. So once again,
Pinholes.
when I see the mind sight, I see the thing here. It might come up here. It might come up to my left, my left and forward. Like if I was looking at it like this, facing it that way on my left side sometimes works. I have no idea why. I think I kind of astral project a little bit at the same time to see things because I can't see with my eyes. So
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of like these multi-sensory feeds in, right? I kind of get this like kaleidoscope visual in front of me that I can use as one set. I then kind of get this like overlay of the colors in as another set, right? And that set
Yeah.
holds like emotions and colors and obscure abstract feelings. But
Okay.
then you put that with the sort of pixelation. Okay, well, now that
Yeah.
really feels like the yellow sun. Like I don't know that I got that right, but I'm pretty sure something you put up at me was a star in yellow because
Yeah. Yeah. It
galaxies
is.
were coming in and like stars and the right angles or the sharp points. The points are what come in for that.
And
So
points.
then like it felt like sun and yellow. There's a metal band called Ice Nine Kills, and they did a reversion of Walking on the Sun. And for every reason, that always hits in my head like Walking on Sun, and like yellow is every time. If I hear that, yellow. If I get the
And you're
sour,
so good with analogies and putting things together. That might be I haven't done that yet. I haven't gotten to that point of like a point or a shape or what am I trying to say? Thinking of it like that of as comparing it to something else. So I love that you shared that.
yeah, and so you're just picking out these, you're picking out emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
And
trying
emotion.
to make sense of nonsense,
Yep.
and
That's
you're just letting it
exactly what it is.
flow, right? You're not second guessing. You're. I mean, as much as it's weird, you're just not holding back. You're sending it. You know, it's the dirt bike. Just send it because you don't know what's right or wrong. Sometimes I'm completely wrong. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm like, it's a black 9 and it's like a red ace, or I say it's a color and it's completely wrong, or a
Complete wrong.
hundred
Yeah.
different examples. But like when you can get into the flow and like that yellow star came in hard. And so like they come in harder sometimes than others.
Okay.
Dustin came in because Dustin's yellow hat came in the hardest, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so when I saw Dustin's yellow hat, I'm like, this is gonna have Dustin on it, and I know that Dustin is a face card, and so you get these other like overlays on it, right? So it's not just
And
the
using all of
vision,
them.
but you get an intuitive aspect to it too. You get like an emotional aspect, and queens feel feminine.
There you go.
Hard. It's a piece of paper, but
Yeah.
queens feel feminine, and I just let it flow, man. You
I
just
love
let it
it.
flow, and if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And if people think you're weird, well, you are a little bit weird.
And that's okay. And I love it. And I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly.
Right? Like if in my mind, it's like, well, if I can do that, then I'll take that and be a little bit weird than not
Yeah.
being able to do that. I always say this to my friends, like it's like being the dude that can ride a unicycle and juggle. It's
Yep.
extremely hard. And it's this weird talent that only a handful of people have ever put the time and energy into, and it's not applicable in any other
Right.
setting than the circus. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
But I can do it.
yeah, but I can do it. I've got that on
Yep.
lock.
Exactly.
I'll balance plates with it. You know what I mean? And so, it's just that element. And that's why I appreciate legitimately people like you and the people that went to the Psy Games, the Psy Games for putting it on. Once again, guys, and I say this from the bottom
Oh
of
my
my
God.
heart. I can do the demonstrations here, but I did this in front of hundreds of people with literally probably about 30 cameras alone of Hakeem's going on, with military generals and the teachers of this community and all these things watching everything you do to make sure that you're not cheating.
Yep.
So
And
this
you
has
didn't even
become
know what
like,
an Eagly wheel was.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, just
so
think about it. It's
it,
crazy.
and just like, and on the marketing side of it, now I don't have one, but everyone else has like discount codes for Wrigley Wheel. Apparently, if you buy it from me, you're still going to get a full price. I don't have a discount code. I haven't
I need
been
to get on
sponsored by
that.
them yet, uh, but
I think you
like,
should get on that.
I just want to make sure that people get it out there so that when they see somebody like me, who I told you guys from the start, this is where I'm at a baseline. This is where we are in April. I've
Yeah.
shown probably too much, but I've shown every single, like at least the sizzle reels of every single training from every single week. We train 2 times a week. We train for about 3 hours 2 times a week. I do
Wow.
nonsense stuff in between, like jumping the motorcycles, or
Mhm.
I literally just sit in my garage with this Igley wheel set up under the glass because it can just be there. It looks cool,
Yeah.
and that's how I was just catching when I was when I was resonating the other day about haters, it just started spinning, and I could like feel it all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, well, I'm gonna take a video of this, and and then all of a sudden I'm getting back, and it's going farther because I'm
I
just
saw
more
that.
amplified. And then I'm like, but then I'm also like, dude, like you're getting so pissed off that you're moving the iggly wheel about something a keyboard warrior said, and
Right.
then I kind of came back
Bring it
down, or
back
the iggly
in.
wheel stopped moving, and my internet worked again, but it just like, I just want people to know, man, it's yes, it's woo woo and it's new and it's not something that everybody's used to. I am guaranteeing that I brought Psy to the moto community in Colorado and they were not expecting it or asking for it. Uh, but on the backside, it's just fun, guys. I have a Plinko board. There's like
Oh,
they're like $35 on Amazon. You can't cheat a Plinko board. There's no board. If you guys want to have a precognition game that's basically a black red, if you guys want to learn how to do well in Vegas with like roulette, there's nothing to it. It's just a plinko board and it falls based on how you do it, right? They use it in strength things, but it's a legit one. It would be extremely hard to control that bounce.
yep.
So using things like that, using regular board games with the blindfolds or the mindfolds, I think me and my family are gonna try to do one new like because we always like being creative and trying to figure out ways to bring in kids to this, right? So I think we're gonna have a mindful Nerf battle, maybe between all of us and our family. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
because we're not gonna knock each other's eyes out if we got the mindfolds on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
You
but
can't hurt anything. The eyes are covered.
you might for nothing else, it'll help my kids learn how to use their other senses. But
Yeah.
no, but like just fun ways like that, and just getting it out into the community, trying to take the woo woo out of it, trying to take, also make this a legit competition. My
Yep.
last 2 cents that I'll end on is like, this is a competition. I am a champion. I am a 20-year motorcycle BMX not basketball.
Basketball.
I was gonna say basketball, baseball, and like I'm a competitor. We do runs, we do like the 5Ks. We
Mhm.
we want to keep moving, right? And you talked about Dahlia. I absolutely love like right now a lot of people are doing the electric stuff or the magnetic stuff or there's been some other things and that's cool. Like I'm all about it, but
Mhm.
wait till you guys see what I got in 2026. I
Oh,
got
I
a
can't
I
wait
got
to
a couple
see.
things up my sleeve that I can just guarantee. I don't think there's anybody else that jumps motorcycle ramps. I know I got that on lock.
There you go.
I did
Yep.
one of me wearing the
You'll be a first.
mindfold locked in, like because the mindfold doesn't fit inside of a helmet. So you're like if
No.
anybody thinks that one was fake, like you can't fake that because to get the mindfold inside the helmet, it like had to get into like I had to squeeze it in, right? So,
Yeah.
it didn't hurt or anything, but like it was completely sealed. And I rode like 100-yard wheelie. And let me just tell you, to ride a wheelie, you have to not only be able to see in front of you, but you usually use like a visual point as a target. And like
Okay, yeah.
I was just like, all right, man, just figure it out. And I ended up like just like zoning out. So I'm riding this 100-yard wheelie, you know, like completely looking up. And so it looks so weird, but like I don't think anybody else is gonna ride a 100-yard wheelie.
No,
Oh, and the
I
electric
think
stuff,
you got that
it
one.
proves more the same point that it's that electric or that magnetism that's part of that electric field that we all
Yeah.
are catching on. And that the group of people that study that stuff or train with it, you can get some magnetism to your hands, guys. I'm telling you, they're doing it in the way of sticking it to things. I'm doing it in like double iggly wheels. It's real. You just can't
Yeah.
get around it.
Yes.
Many people can do it.
Yep.
At the same time, people are just going to be like, because like we try to see it from both angles, and that's also how I try to
Yeah.
like debunk, or put things in place so people can't say it's real. People could say like, well, you put stickies or you put this or that or
Yeah, right.
always sorts of ways to naysay it. But I mean, the bottom line is, I encourage anybody else that's posting videos, try to knock out as much as you can to show the entire process so people have the least amount to say. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's my
Mhm.
2 cents to folks. If they want to show the process so those haters can't hate, man. And
Yep.
when they
Yep.
do hate, you can just ignore it, and that's what I need to do sometimes. But sometimes, don't
You're
ever,
right.
don't respond with any sort of anger or aggression or hatred, because once again, that's where they are, right? And you
Mhm.
can't choose that about a person. You can control yourself, but you
Be
can't.
a better person.
But man,
Mhm.
when you show your process it's a lot harder to naysay when you see it from
Yeah.
start to beginning, one cut. You
One
see
step at a time.
you see it one step at a time and what is
Yep.
in place and what's being done. And then when you show it's got a little bit more punch, and that's my 2 cents. And
Absolutely.
anybody
Right.
can do it. I hope everyone that watches this gets a little bit of something from my rambling. And
Oh, they will, believe me.
I hope to see everybody at the 2026 Psy Games, including you, man. The last thing I want to say is, I like talking a little. I'm not a smack talker, but I'm not going to discount what I put my work into, right? And there's a little bit of like I'm a motocrosser, dude. I'm a racer. I'm going to post my stuff and not only show where I'm at, but a little bit of you know positive rivalry isn't bad. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It keeps
that's
you
not bad
moving,
at
gives you
all.
that motivation. And my last little 2 cents into it is as much as I want to you know do that with the other competitors that I know, the OG perceptualists.
Mhm.
I hope it drives others who weren't there, who are now going to come. I hope it drives people to try to compete. And if I'm the benchmark, I got a target on my back. I know I'm the champion. So bring it. But at the same time, I hope it brings people that weren't part of this into it. I hope that it brings people into this aspect of like, me and Dahlia, we know we got our targets on our back for that competition. Maybe not from the
Mhm.
community, but from that for that competition.
Mhm.
And you got John Tran and Jeff and all these other champions. You got Heidi and there's so many other people that won. Those are the ones that are just coming off the top of my head. And Heather and just all these other people. Like we are all here and we know what it looks like. But man, there's some other people coming that are like now that they know we're all gonna have our hands full. You know what I mean?
That's
So
true.
Excited
Yeah.
to
we're
just
excited to
experience
go.
that energy again and
Yes,
just
me
be
too. I
for
cannot
people
wait.
because like he mentioned before, we were like on cloud nine for a week
Oh,
after
the energy
meeting
sticks.
all these
Yep.
people and experiencing what we did there. So
So cool. So
thank
cool.
Well,
you
Well,
so
thank
much
you
I
for
guys.
your
appreciate it.
time. We really
Thank you.
appreciate
It's
you.
so much fun.